What is going on, everybody? RB here, Philly Take with RB. Shout out to Sixers Nation holding it down. I know we were a few minutes late getting up on here, but hey, we are here. We have arrived, and we got a lot to talk about, man. Shout out to Sixers Nation again for holding it down the entire time. We already got a ton of people up in the chat. If you guys are in here, hit the like button. We are streaming from 3 channels. We are live on 3 different channels. Philly Take with RB, 4for4 Philly Phan, and the Daily Drip. Go ahead, smash the like button, hit the subscribe on the channels. Links are in the description. What's going on, everybody? Give us your instant thoughts. The last time us 3 were up here on a stream, things were a lot different. Things were certainly a lot different. Let's just say the Sixers are doing some interesting things in the past couple months, and we got a lot of news to break down, a lot to talk about. But with that being said, again, I go by RB, Philly Take with RB, and I'm delighted to be up here with my guys again. I'm going to let them go ahead around and introduce themselves real quick.
What's up, guys? My name's Stephen Conrad Jr. I'm obviously the host of the Daily Drip here on YouTube. Can't wait to dive into this. Like RB said, man, the last time I think we were all 3 of us for that matter, were on here talking Sixers. We were screaming to get Brett Brown fired. Not only was the man fired, they brought in arguably the best coach possible to replace him. We might have one of the best front offices in the entire NBA now. I can't wait to dive into this with all of you guys here in the chat as well. Let's do it.
What is going on, everybody? 4for4 Philly Phan. Back at it again with my guys. I mean, yeah, as Steven just said, we were all pretty mad at the Sixers the last time all 3 of us were up on the stream. Brett Brown was still on the team. Al Horford was absolutely garbage. And, the Sixers were injured and out of the playoffs pretty much just like this. But, good to be back with my guys. Sixers Nation is popping right now. Like, Sixers are popping all up in the news. They're more popular than the Eagles right now. I'm going to say that right now. The Eagles stink. They stink, and it's good to actually have something fun and easy to talk about in the Sixers basketball world.
Hey, man, I absolutely agree. Again, shout out to my guys. All the links are down in the description. It's been a crazy series of events. We're going to dive into a lot of Sixers talk. We want to hear all your takes. We're going to try to read the chat as much as possible. We already got 50 people up in the chat. So, again, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Ding the notification bell so you guys are instantly notified when we go live or upload. Shout out to everybody up in the chat showing a lot of love. Shout out to my channel members up in the building. Appreciate you guys. Before we get into that, I do want to note that there has been some news today in terms of the NBA and a possible return. So apparently, according to Woj, the teams are going to meet, and then sometime tomorrow they will determine. But it's looking likely that the season will start on December 22nd. So that is just a month and a half away. It's literally a month and a half. I can't believe it. Things are just going so fast. We got the draft coming up in 2 weeks from today. Free agency is apparently going to start the day after. And then we got the trades coming. Everything's coming crazy. First and foremost, though, I want to know everyone's reaction up in the chat, and I want to know from these 2 because I haven't talked to them. What were your guys' instant reactions and, I guess, feelings to the Sixers bringing in Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers, 2 household names? We go from Brett Brown and a dysfunctional organization with the whole structure, and now we got this. I want to know your guys' thoughts.
Honestly, I couldn't. Well, first of all, I couldn't believe it. I was at work. I was checking my phone. I'm like, this ain't right. Like, let me look into this. Had to sneak into the bathroom. I had to read this, man. And then I was just like, this is just too good to be true. Like, there's got to be something. There's got to be an incentive. Maybe something I'm missing. But Daryl Morey, man, the process comes full circle. Actually, he was a Sam Hinkie guy. Actually, I believe Sam Hinkie was underneath him. And now, after all this nonsense over the last couple of years, mishap after mishap, injury, horrible trade. We know the deal, right? We got the best possible GM on the market here, and, well, he's going to help clean things up, and let's complete the process, right? We want a championship. That's what the process was started for, right?
Yeah, I mean, same reaction. I was sitting in a truck, and I was on my phone scrolling through Twitter. I refreshed the page, and Daryl Morey is the new Sixers GM out of nowhere. And it's kind of crazy to think that we were going through that whole process for what seems like since Doc Rivers has been in town. It was pretty much Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers. They had this plan, and they were harassing Morey, as he said in his interview the other day, to really come and help the team. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. I have high expectations for this trio of upper management with, Doc, Elton Brand, and Daryl Morey. I'm excited to see what those three guys can do to reorganize, to revamp this team, to see what happens when, free agency hits and the trade deadline hits and the draft comes. I'm excited to see what everything that is going to go down. I'm excited to see it. And the Sixers have brought me right back in. I was dead in the water when they lost. When they got swept, I was at an all-time low on this team. And since the NBA season is kind of coming back at this point, the Sixers have been the talk of the town in Philadelphia, and I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah, I hear you guys. And I think the craziest thing about it is the Sixers said they're going to deliver, a changed front office for the Sixers. They said that, the structure here is not going to work. And for some time, we were sitting back. We were sitting back with our hands, not really doing anything. We were letting other teams go out and look at other coaches. The Sixers sitting back, not really doing much. And then it's crazy. I got to actually give credit to Josh Harris and Dave Blitzer. The ownership of the Sixers just went out and immediately, Doc Rivers is fired from the Clippers, and a couple days later, he's the coach of the Sixers. Daryl Morey's let go by the Rockets. A couple days later, he's on a plane to Philadelphia and comes out of nowhere that he's going to be our next president of basketball operations. I think we deserve this. I think we deserve this because what we have been given the last couple years is just not suitable. It is not right. And now that look, I'm not saying we're going to win the championship next year. We still have a lot to do. We have a lot of work to do. But I think we finally got that issue addressed in the front office. I will ask you guys, though, as a follow-up question, are you still nervous at all about the Sixers ownership? Or do you think they are going to have any say? Do you think they're going to try to, stick their nose where they shouldn't? Are they going to get in the way at all? What do you guys think?
I'll start. I'm going to say no, just because I was before, but just because they brought in so much firepower. You got Daryl Morey, Elton Brand, who's always had a big say, Doc Rivers, who even as a coach has had a lot of power and a lot of say in the roster and stuff like that. I just think a lot of those former guys, Josh Harris included, and some of the other guys are kind of being pushed to the side, maybe even just phased out altogether. So I have no worry, man. And that's the beauty of this, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for these three. I think they take over. They're going to take over. Everything's going to have to go through Doc, Elton, and Morey. And it's going to start with Morey, who is an absolute mastermind. We've seen what he's done. He saw something in a guy like James Harden, who was a sixth man of the year, brought him into Houston. He was an MVP. He might arguably be the best scorer in the league right now. I say arguably because Durant is still in the league. He'll be back next year. And he sees something in young talent. And I think he's going to do exactly what is going to be done here. I think he's going to bring in talent, whether that be another trade for James Harden, which I'm sure we'll definitely get into. But there's going to be moves. I can't tell you what those moves will be, but there's going to be moves. And the upper management and Josh Harris and all those guys, they just got to sit back, kick their feet up, and let the guys do their jobs at this point. You have Elton Brand, who got you Jimmy Butler. Now, he didn't re-sign him, but he got you him. So he can make those trades. Daryl Morey can make those trades. And Doc Rivers has been a championship coach. He has had great players throughout his systems and Hall of Fame type players. And that's what these three are going to get for this squad, for this city. Now, I can't wait.
Yeah, I hear you, man. There's a lot that goes into it, but I agree with you guys. I think there has finally come a time where we've realized what works versus what doesn't work. And it was time that we got someone in here, right? We talked about it. We need someone that is just established. We need someone that knows the game inside and out. And look, a lot of people were back and forth on me with Doc Rivers. I'm absolutely thrilled to have a name like Doc Rivers in here. I'm thrilled to have a Daryl Morey. I have a follow-up to that, but first and foremost, shout out to Barn5, Asia Roberson, Philly Girl. Appreciate all my channel members up in the building. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the mods. A lot of love being shown up here in the chat. I know Sixers YouTube has been waiting, man, but don't worry. The next couple weeks is going to be filled with draft stuff, free agency stuff. I mean, the season is starting in a month and a half. Things are going to go crazy. Now, in follow-up to what 4-4 was just saying about Daryl Morey making moves, I want to get one thing out of the way from my perspective, and I want to know what you guys think. And feel free to ask me a question back or whatever. But look, Ben Simmons is not getting traded. I don't know how many times I need to say this. I've been constantly going back and forth with people. They should trade Ben Simmons for James Harden. It doesn't make sense. They should trade Ben Simmons here. They should trade Ben Simmons here. We have only seen Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid under Brett Brown. I'll say that again. We've only seen them under Brett Brown for 3 years together. And guess what? They've still won 65% of their games. Stop with the Ben Simmons trade rumors. Look, the dude's 24. We can say, I say it over and over again. The dude is going to be a stud, and I can't wait to see how Doc Rivers uses him. I do not want to trade either one. We got to give it at least a year or two under this system. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree. And like you said, that's something that really stuck out with me. One of the first things Doc Rivers ever said when he came into the building was that the tandem of Joel and Ben have won 65% of their games. You just don't split them up. They finally have really a head coaching staff that's elite. Doc Rivers is an elite coach. All the assistants, Dave Yeager, Sam Castle, yada, yada, the list goes on. I think I'm with you. I am not trading Ben Simmons whatsoever. And for some reason, I think let's just be honest. Let's just keep it honest with everybody. It's the national media. They're trying to they always do this. They always try to trade Philly star players away for whatever reason. Look, man, as good as James Harden is, what is he, a top 5 player, we'll say? He's 31 years old, and he was given the best possible situation in Houston to win, and he still couldn't get the job done. I think Ben Simmons at the age of 23 or 24 could go down as a better all-around player, and he's already a better two-way player than James Harden, if we're being honest.
Yeah, nah. Ben Simmons ain't getting traded. Neither is Joel Embiid. Definitely isn't getting traded. As Daryl Morey's like in love with the guy, and can't really blame him on that one. But Ben Simmons, he's not getting traded either. At least for the first year and a half. I'll give it to the deadline of the second year of these guys. But I just can't see a guy like Ben Simmons with the potential, with the one thing missing is a jump shot. And as we know, Doc Rivers coached Rajon Rondo, who was he has a similar game to Ben. He's not exactly the same, but he doesn't really shoot well either. He doesn't shoot really at all. He surrounded them with shooters. He surrounded them with star talent. And Ben Simmons is the star talent there. He doesn't have to look for a guy that's going to facilitate and get his own. Ben will get his, whether it's a jump shot or whether it's a dunk. He'll get his. There's no doubt about that. He's not going anywhere. Those if James Harden is going to come to Philadelphia or anybody, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid will not be involved in those trades. And if they do, I think they actually make a mistake trading a guy like Ben Simmons. You just can't do it at a guy of his age, at a guy of his potential that has not even really peaked in the league yet, but he's so good at everything else. How is it that everything just goes ignored except for the fact that he doesn't have a jump shot? It's always the flaws, but yeah, he was a top 3 defender in the league. He was a top, 5 guy in passing and court vision. Ben Simmons is great. He ain't going anywhere. That's pretty much what I got to say. He's not going anywhere.
I agree. The first line of business when Doc Rivers came here, when Daryl Morey came here, what did Elton Brand even say in his exit press conference? We need to find ways to align talent around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I'm tired of this notion that they can't work together. I'm tired of this notion that Ben is never going to shoot the ball. Well, if he doesn't in 2 to 3 years, then yeah, we can start to look at it, okay? But I don't want to give this man up without seeing what he can do under an established presence like Doc Rivers. Look, we could talk all day about what Ben Simmons is going to do in this offense. I don't even know yet. Doc Rivers hasn't even worked with these guys, but I do know he's going to be better. I know the pace is going to be better. I know he's going to show up more consistently. Those are the type of little things that you need to win, to go a prolonged period in the NBA, to win a championship, to survive in the playoffs. I mean, we know in the playoffs we got absolutely embarrassed. I've never been embarrassed like that in a series. I mean, we got absolutely embarrassed. I don't want to see those days again. What I will say is that the Sixers they are looking forward, and it's finally time to reshape this team. There will be moves made, and we're going to go ahead and talk about that. I see people asking here if we read the chat. We are definitely going to get to the chat. There are a lot of comments in here. We got a ton of people in here. Again, smash the like button. Shout out to these guys. We're going to be covering the Sixers all year long, so be sure to sub them up as well. With that being said, I would love to ask these guys, and let's just have a dialogue here. Let us know down in the chat, like, what is the first order of business for Daryl Morey? Because we know behind Sam Hinkie's process Sixers, where he traded 78 guys in, 4 years or whatever, Daryl Morey is going to have to move somebody. Somebody's going to have to get moved. I think we know who the obvious guy is, who we're leaning towards. However, we got to play in, is it realistic? Is it a possibility? We have a month and a half, and trades might not even start for another couple weeks. What do you guys think is the first order of business? Let's just talk about it.
Well, it's obviously, and it scares me. Now, again, this could just be talk, but it scares me. I hear Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey, they talk about Al Horford a lot, and it scares me, but I think you got to find a way to dump him. And ideally, I mean, we talked about it all. I mean, even during the season, to me, there's always been one trade target of mine that's always been higher than others, just because I think he can be acquirable. I mean, you're going to hear stuff about James Harden. You're going to hear stuff about Chris Paul. The list will go on and on. People throw Devin Booker's name out there. I don't know how. The Suns aren't going to trade him. It's always been Buddy Hield. It's a team that I really don't know what direction they're going in, and Buddy Hield really has never been happy there. I mean, RB, you've made videos on it. I've seen just him constantly. I mean, he interacts with Sixers fans on Instagram. He's liking posts and stuff like that. He's the perfect fit. He's not a superstar player, but he's the perfect guy to come in and complement your two-star players. So if you can find a way to package Horford, some draft picks, whatever it takes to get Buddy Hield, I'm all in. Sign me up.
Yeah, I think, again, the obvious answer is Al Horford here. But is it possible to move that contract? Personally, I'm optimistic about it. I do think somebody will take that contract, because the reason why he has the money that he has now is because people wanted him. People were bidding him. I mean, it's not like he was some scrub that we gave $100 million to. He's an all-star. His days might be in the past, but he was a good player in Boston. We gave him the money because he destroyed us. Somebody will use him right. Somebody has to use him right. Now, you got to really think. Will we trade him to an Eastern Conference team that's going to contend, like a Miami or like a Boston or a Milwaukee? I don't know. I have 3 teams in mind that I think that he could get traded to, and they're all from the West, and it's Portland. Obviously Sacramento, I think, is probably, Exhibit A, and there's another team that I forget. But I think he goes to Sacramento still, because Sacramento was right up with us last year up until the end of the bidding war for Al Horford. And the only reason why he didn't go to the Kings, what do the Kings have to win? Why would he go there at the end of his career? But he has no choice now. We could trade him for a guy like Buddy Hield and a washed player like Corey Joseph or Harrison Barnes, somebody like that. But I think Horford does get traded, personally.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think that someone is going to get traded. Now, originally we're thinking Tobias Harris, Al Horford. At the end of the day, to me, it's going to be very hard to move Al Horford's contract. It doesn't matter, especially with the limited time frame now. Honestly, we might even have to almost give away a first if we want to move Al's contract. I mean, that's how bad that contract is. He's a decent backup. He's just not worth $100 million. So at the end of the day, it's like, what do we do? Do we go out and move Tobias? I personally think that Tobias is a much better version than what we saw last year. And I don't even think he played bad last year. I just think he was very inconsistent. But again, that speaks to the system and how he wasn't able to operate. But we saw Tobias Harris have his best season years back, 22 points a game. Tobias Harris on the verge of being an all-star. Tobias Harris when he was with Doc Rivers. So I think he's going to be able to create his own a lot more in the Doc Rivers offense. I would like to move Al Horford's contract if there's any way possible. But we need shooting. We need shooting on this team. And especially, we'll talk about the draft a little bit. We need a guard. We need a guard to play alongside Ben, because I think that in terms of Ben Simmons, I don't know about you guys, but I think Ben Simmons needs to develop into this point forward type of role, not always being on the ball, but not always being off. I don't want Ben Simmons to end up being a stretch four, but I don't want him to be a strict point guard. I think just how LeBron had his Kyrie, I think Ben Simmons needs his guard next to him that can co-align with Ben Simmons, and I'm hoping that we can target a guy in the draft to be able to do that. Anyway, a key guy that we need to bring back to the Sixers that nobody is talking about is Alec Burks. Look, I saw way too much promise of Alec Burks in the playoffs. This guy was going on for 18 points, 22, 25 in a playoff game, and he was the main source of our offense. And that was under Brett Brown. And then Brett sat him. He sat him to 10 minutes a game. I mean, that cannot happen. That would not happen under Doc Rivers. But we know Doc in his systems, he's always had a key sixth man, a key seventh man. He really advocates the bench. And I think Alec Burks is going to come in here if we bring him back and be a key piece for the Sixers.
Man, as much as I would love for that to happen, and I'm all for it. I mean, you saw what he did in the playoffs. He proved his worth, and we've always been missing that guy off the bench. And if you look at all of Doc Rivers' teams, he's always had that guy come off the bench, the scorer. You give the guy the ball, like Jamal Crawford. But the problem is this is a weird free agent class. There's not a lot of star players, a lot of role players like Burks, and I think those guys are kind of going to get overpaid. And I just don't know if the Sixers can really compete. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. I honestly don't even think they have a shot, to pay him the type of money he may get. I don't know. We'll see. But maybe, like you said, we could find a guy in the draft. I actually see somebody in the comments said Cole Anthony. I mean, I'm sure we'll touch on, all the guys in the draft, but that's a name to me that kind of stands out.
Yeah, I like Alec Burks. I think he's a good player, and I would love to have him back, especially as that sixth man. So as Steven just said, Doc Rivers has always had that scorer off the bench, that immediate scorer, whether it's Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, guys from Boston, whatever. He's always had that. And, with an Alec Burks, you have that. He can score. I don't know how, really. He's just so awkward out there on the floor. He's so wild, but he gets it done. He gets it in the hoop, and that's really all you can ask for. But with this cap space going on right now, and it's going to be hard because who knows what this team is going to do. But if there's anybody that's going to get it done, it's going to be these three, Morey, Doc, and Elton. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that is definitely a name that I would love to have back in the city coming off as the sixth man.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of key free agents, but I think free agents have been talking to teams. They just haven't committed to them yet because of the rules. But you could see some of these surprise guys. You could see a Galinari come to the Sixers. You could see a move like that out of nowhere, or they pick up a shooter, right? And Evan Fournier, who comes off his player option, they go and pick him out. I just think we need to add sufficient shooting, and we need depth. A guy that strikes me is Montrezl Harrell, a guy who's thrived under Doc Rivers' system. Why not go out and try to bring that guy in? Evidently, I think this is kind of like the next topic I want to dive into, but I don't know if we need a third star in the sense that, is going to come in here and be the dominant ball handler. But I think we need a guy who's maybe an all-star player that we can put next to Ben and Joe. Not like an actual star like a Jimmy, but an all-star player like a Buddy Hield or a guy like that. I want to know your guys' thoughts on that, though.
Yeah. And again, when I guess Tobias would be looked at as the quote unquote third star. And again, it depends. I'm assuming they're going to hold on to him. He had the best season of his career under Doc Rivers. But I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if maybe Daryl Morey finds a way to move him. Because who knows what the market really would be, for a guy like Tobias Harris. But yeah, like you said, you want to bring in, I guess what you could say, like a fringe all-star like Buddy Hield. I mean, that's a guy who, in a best season of his career, he could be a fringe all-star. I mean, really, it's just guys who can shoot and kind of just fill roles on this team, you would assume, right? I mean, you would like a guard. I mean, I see a lot of people are saying Drew Holiday. Again, I don't know what it would take. I'd be cool with Drew Holiday. I don't love his fit, but again, he's like a fringe all-star too. I'm assuming that's like the type of player we're talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, we need somebody that can score or shoot. Either one, I think, would work for this team, especially if you can get an all-star. And, going back to the teams that I think that Al Horford could go to, the Pelicans was that third team that I was thinking of. I think he would actually work there. They have Derek Favors as their center now, so, just throw him in there. But I really have no idea what this team is going to do. There's so many two guards. I think they're definitely going to get a two guard, if anything. Buddy Hield, Zach Levine, Devin Booker's, Harden. They're all two guards. All the names that we plug into this team have been shooting guards. And that's what I think we're definitely going to get. I just don't know who at this time. And it sucks that I don't know, because at least last year we kind of had a clue that we were going to get either Tobias Harris or Jimmy Butler, at least at the very minimum. And then we made a move for Horford. And at the time, we were all hyped. Let's be honest here. We were all pretty happy that Al Horford was on this team. I was, at least. But I just don't know. I have no idea what this team is going to do.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some free agent shooters brought in, but at the same time, I could see a trade happening. Like, I just feel like the cards are playing out right for us to bring in that guy that we can bring alongside Ben and Joe. But like Connor says here, if Ben Simmons takes more than one jumper, he could be a lethal force. To me, it's really about, how Doc wants to use Ben Simmons. Doc has praised, positionless basketball, right? Like, how is Ben Simmons going to be utilized in his offense? Is he going to be kind of that main force like a LeBron is in his offense? I think it's a good question to ask, but it's really about the development of Ben Simmons, in my opinion. And then, like you said, people were mentioning Drew Holiday. I would be thrilled to put together a package to bring Drew Holiday and JJ Redick back to the Sixers. I mean, it'd be nuts. JJ Redick, look, that ended up being one of our biggest mistakes. We should have never let the guy go. He had the chemistry with Joel Embiid, and JJ Redick was spot on. He was knockdown shooter every night, giving you 3 threes at least. Drew Holiday could come in and be the point, maybe the backup point if we go out and draft someone. You never know. But I think one of our biggest flaws last season was that we didn't have enough depth. We didn't have enough bench scoring. That was one of our biggest problems.
Yeah, I think as far as like Ben Simmons goes, you were touching on a lot of good points. And of course, everybody in here, we all wish Ben would just come out and shoot. We'll see if it happens. I think you're going to slowly start to see him do it. But something that Doc Rivers really touched on, and this goes for the Sixers as a whole. Like, obviously, we clearly need shooting on the team, but his thing was, I want this team to be, I think he said, a top 5 offense. So he wants to score the ball, period. That means as good as Ben Simmons is, and as much as we like to see him shoot, that means he wants Ben to attack more. Do what you're good at, getting to the basket, drawing fouls. Ben can do that more. Take a page out of LeBron's book. Maybe give up being a selfless player here and there and be aggressive, put the team on your back. Like, we know he can do it. He has the talent to do it. I think now that you have Doc Rivers in his ear, somebody like that, finally, he could have, you can call me crazy, he could potentially have an MVP season.
He also wants to increase the pace as well. The little things too, the offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, just the little things that get this team riled up. Because we saw too much isolation. We saw too much standing around at times. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that anymore, just to add on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I really just don't know. Like, this team is actually confusing. It's actually, like, to a good point, though. Like, I do think a trade will happen. I think Drew Holiday's a little bit too pricey for us right now. He got that max a couple years ago, and it was like $31 million a year. But the bench was awful last year. It truly was awful. And, we put a lot of faith in James Ennis, who we got rid of. We put a lot of faith in Mike Scott and those guys, those 3 and D guys that did not do anything. The bright spot for this bench, I guess, for at least next season is going to be Matisse Thybulle because, he's got to work on his threes. He's got to work on his shooting because having him off the bench with his defense, that would be great. But he needs to work definitely, and I think he will. He's definitely a determined kid, but we need to definitely work on this bench. I would love to have a sixth man, like a true sixth man, somebody that's actually going to be in the conversation, not a guy like TJ McConnell was in that conversation a couple of years ago, but we went on a 17-game win streak at the end of the season. Without that, I don't think he's even close to that. I mean, we were just the talk of the NBA when we went on that 17-game win streak at the end, and we need a true sixth man. When we went to the finals in 2001, we had the coach of the year, the MVP, the defensive player of the year, and the sixth man of the year. Get a scorer off the bench, and you guys, it goes a long way.
Yeah. To Kevin's point here, Cole Anthony, that's definitely one of my highest, most coveted picks in the draft. I'll definitely be doing a breakdown on him. He's exactly the type of player. I'm not saying, he's there yet, but the type of player I want to see next to Ben Simmons because we knew Markelle Fultz was supposed to be that guy. Fultz was supposed to be, the 1-2 punch next to Ben Simmons and then Joel Embiid and then Tobias Harris, but he just never panned out, which sucks. Before I ask you guys about a few free agents that I would love to hear your opinion on, what I want to know is if you are the Sixers right now, if you're Daryl Morey, you come in here, you're talking with Doc Rivers, what guys on a roster are untouchable?
Oh, I'll tell you what, guy. Okay. Well, definitely. Okay. It's easy. Ben and Joel. Honestly, there's only 1 or 2 other guys, and I'm willing to kind of get rid of some of them if you can bring in better fits. Me personally, I may consider, call me crazy, Shake Milton an untouchable just because I like what he did so much on this team last year, and it's a cheap contract right there. I don't know if I'm willing to go as far as to say Matisse Thybulle is an untouchable, as much as I love the kid. Great defensive prospect, but if he's the guy that moves the needle in a trade where you can bring in somebody like a good player like Buddy Hield or somebody that some of these names we touched on, I may consider it, but that's just me.
Ben and Joel. It's a boring answer, but everybody else on this team, if we get better, I'll pack your bags for you and I'll drive you to wherever you got to go at this point. This team needs to get better. And Embiid and Simmons, to me, are the only 2 untouchable. If you can get a superstar from anybody else, you got to do it. If you got to trade Tobias, if you got to trade Matisse, if you got to trade Shake, and 3 picks, you got to do it. If you can lure in James Harden with that trade, or, that's obviously the guy right now. We're predicted to lure him in. We're predicted to pursue him. So that's kind of what I'm going off of. But it's just, if you can get that without giving up Ben and Joel, other pieces will come. You see what LeBron gets every year. You see what Durant gets every year. I mean, Durant hasn't stepped foot on the court yet in a Brooklyn Nets jersey. And look at his team. Look how much depth he has. Look how much shooting he has on that team because he's Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Players will come. And if you have a big 3, well, I mean, at that point, you're giving up Tobias. You're giving up Matisse, and you're freeing up cap. $180 million in cap. You can do some stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably there with you guys. The close third for me would be Matisse Thybulle, but I think if there was an offer that really enticed me, bring an all-star caliber player in here, I might bulge on it. I might. But I think Ben and Joe have to stay here for this year. We got to see what they can do, to be honest. Ari Mad says won't be able to get Montrez. He's set for a big payday. I don't know. I think we can maneuver some things around. Q says Joe Harris, another big free agent who I think we could be in on. Steal him away from the Nets. Sign Nate Robinson and his family. Drew Holiday at JJ. Drew. Joe Harris. Yeah, I think there's going to be some decent free agents. We definitely need shooting, but we need guys who are going to fit the system. That's the most important aspect of the season. I feel like, well, first off, Brett Brown never had a system, but then again, we never got any guys that could fit together. You know, we tried to go with 4 forwards on the lineup at one time, and it just did not work. Let's see, Zach Levine. Zach Levine would be one of my dream trades. It would definitely take a haul to get him. And now that they have a new, system there in Chicago, I'm not really sure how that would go. But I would love him. He's exactly the type of player I would take alongside Ben and Joe. Doesn't have to be a number one option. Doesn't always need the ball in his hands and can do a lot,
And you know what? Not to interrupt. Is Billy Donovan the new Bulls head coach? Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Now that's a guy who coached Al Horford in college. Again, I'm not saying they would do, Horford for Levine straight up, but I don't know. Maybe they consider it. Maybe they want to bring in that guy because they do have a lot of young, talented guards on that team. And Al Horford, like a team trading for him, would want to bring in a big who can help develop the guards around him, if that makes any sense. So I don't know, maybe, but Zach Levine is a guy who I would love. He's certainly. He's an upper echelon guy you could acquire. He's somebody who I would consider parting ways with Tobias Harris actually to bring in. I'm not sure where their salaries match up, but there's just, like you said, too many forwards this last year. If you can move Tobias to bring in a true 2-guard, sign me up.
Yeah, I agree. Zach Levine's the guy that I want. I want him more than Booker. In all honesty, I think he would just fit better with this squad. And, I don't know if you guys remember, but he was saying last year that he wants something like a Philly offense, like with Ben Simmons and a big. And I mean, if he comes to Philadelphia, I think he's the perfect piece. I think we let him do him. And he's been on 2 garbage teams. And he is the number 1 option, obviously, in Chicago. But what he brings to the floor, it's not like he's one of those guys that just stat pads because he's on a bad team. Like, he actually goes out there and he looks like he's actually trying to win games. And Jim Boylan was just so bad. Like, they had no chemistry, those two. They hated each other. Or Zach Levine at least hated him. You could tell on his face. His facial expressions all the time were pretty negative towards him. But you bring a Zach Levine in here, and things could get pretty scary for the league, at least within the next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know if we're going to pull something like that right away. But again, you really never know with Daryl Morey. Where's this one comment I was looking at? Chris says, stop saying Booker for Ben. It will never happen. Look, I'm here to tell you guys right now. Look, the Sixers are not getting Devin Booker. It's not happening this offseason. You would just require way too much in that deal. And I strictly don't think that Daryl Morey would come on and pull something off like that right away. I don't know about you guys, but.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. You can take that one.
Yeah, Booker is not coming here. And the reason why he's not coming here, he's got to will his way out of that team in order for the Sixers to even look that direction, because they're going to want so much. They're going to want Simmons, Thibault, and maybe a first for Booker and Bridges or something like that. Booker and Rubio. They're going to throw in somebody not worth Ben Simmons. I'm sorry, but I think Ben Simmons is better than Devin Booker. I mean, there was a video on ESPN the other day, and I sent it into my group chat, and they were like, oh my God, Devin Booker made 47 threes in a row. I was like, how many playoff appearances does the dude have? I mean, I get that he's in Phoenix and it's pretty terrible, but come on. If he was a true winner, he would be at least the 8th seed by now. Come on. Ben's never missed the playoffs, let alone missed. He would have had a 50-win season this year if he was healthy, if it was a full season, but it wasn't. And, we worked with the circumstances, and he got injured. I think we at least make it to 6 with a Simmons. With a Booker, I don't know if we make it to a 6th. I don't.
I agree. I just think Ben Simmons is, in a way, I still think Ben Simmons is being slept on. Like, I don't think he's near his top potential. I mean, this guy is still 4 years away from his potential prime, and I think that's scary for the rest of the league, to be honest. I see people throwing in a lot of suggestions here. I think we should go through a few free agents. Like, I can ask you guys some. You guys can, put some out there. Even a chat will put some out there. We can read them. I think we should go through some potential free agent targets because there's actually a lot of guys on board, to be honest. Before we do that, though, Jersey Boy, appreciate the donation, man. $5 super chat says, we need to see what Doc wants for the team first. Horford's contract is crazy. Going to be hard to move. We need 2 shooters and backup point guard who can shoot. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think we need tons of shooting. We need guys to complement Ben and Joe. In the guard position, our backcourt is going to be a definite interesting point of concern, given what Doc wants to do. And again, I can't wait to see what he tries to implement with this team. But appreciate the super chat, my guy. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone in here. We got 100 in here. Hit the like, subscribe to all these guys. We're going to be covering the Sixers all year long, so shout out to everybody. But yeah, I think we should go around and throw out some free agents. Maybe that you guys want to sign. I'll throw one out there to begin. Actually, we'll read Chris's right here. It says, sign Jay Crowder should be our #1 free agency priority. What do you guys think about that?
I'm with it. He's a nice two-way player, can stretch the floor a little bit. He's not like a knockdown shooter, but he also brings like that playoff toughness that you're looking for a player. I think he could play in the Philly environment really well. I'm all for it. And that's a guy, by the way, Daryl Morey loves MLE, like cheap contract players. That's why, like when we were touching on the bench earlier, I actually feel really confident Daryl Morey's going to be able to find guys who can come in. You look at the Houston bench, a bunch of those guys are on really cheap contracts, like Daniel House, Ben McLemore, and all those guys. That's like been something he's been able to do. So I'm confident we'll be able to fill out the bench now that he's the GM here.
Yeah, he's done it on all his teams. That Boston team, he had like Rasheed Wallace on that bench. Like Rasheed Wallace was one of the best players of the 2000s or something. He won a title. But back to this, I would love Jay Crowder, honestly. You saw what he did with Jimmy Butler passing on the ball. And, people forget that Ben Simmons creates threes. He might not shoot them, but he created the most three-pointers made last season in the NBA. He was that guy. Maybe he doesn't shoot them, but he passes to the guys that can make them. And you took JJ Redick away from him. Now you just got to find guys that JJ is a special, talented three-point shooter. He's one of the best of all time, statistically. But Jay Crowder's a guy that I really like. Maybe a stretch 4, maybe one of the Morris twins. You can get one of them in here for, a little contract. I think Markeith would probably be more on that side than Marcus. I think Marcus is the better of the two. But you got to get shooting in here. And if you want to get maybe a Corver or maybe just guys that can shoot. But Jay Crowder would be a great start to reworking that bench. I definitely think I think he's going to trade Scott. I think he's going to trade guys like that. And he should at this point. The Mike Scott hype thing was fun while it lasted, but it's over. I mean, it's just not there anymore. He was awful last year. Hate to say it, but he was.
Yeah, I hear you. I think the Sixers need a tough guy like that. Whoever it is, whether it's Jay Crowder, a Morris brother, we need that presence on the court. I know you guys remember years back in the little that he played for the Sixers, a guy like Corey Brewer, like just the impact that he was able to have. We need a guy who's going to dive around the floor, a guy who's going to get in someone's face. I saw it a lot throughout the playoffs, and I think we need a guy like that. Speaking of a tough veteran guy, I'll throw out the first free agent name. We could go around, each give out some names. My first guy is Rajon Rondo. What would you guys think about that?
Oh boy. Just because we have Ben Simmons on the roster, I just don't love the fit. I mean, he's a veteran guard, obviously playing under Doc Rivers. His fit even on the Lakers wasn't perfect, but they made it work. I personally would, with the limited money we have, I wouldn't spend it on a guy who just can't space the floor. I'd be out on Rondo personally.
I've always liked Rondo, but yeah, I mean, playoff Rondo is a different breed, clearly. I mean, I've never seen him shoot like that. But I don't know. To add to these names, where's Avery Bradley at? Because I feel like he would be a pretty solid. Like, where is he at? The Clippers or the Lakers? One of those two. He's in LA. I know that. I just don't know which one. But I know he would sign somewhere for a small deal. He's kind of washed, but he could still shoot, and he was a really good defender back in his days in Boston.
Who was it?
Avery Bradley.
Oh yeah, Avery Bradley. I believe he didn't come to the bubble either. But yeah, I think we need a guy like that. For me personally, I would probably say yes to Rondo if it's feasible, just because I think I like his leadership. I like his toughness. With the Lakers, I heard a lot of guys just saying how he brought a lot to the court, and just was able to run the floor. I would like a veteran like that, but it would definitely depend on a lot of factors. Q says, I think we should look at DeRozan. Cheap contract could flip him at the deadline. You guys want to answer that one?
It won't be a cheap contract. That's the thing. It won't be.
RB, I thought you were the DeRozan guy. You were I remember that's why I tagged you in that thing on Twitter the other day. You were the first to bring that idea up, by the way.
I'll go first. Look, here's the thing on DeRozan. I'll put it simply like this. I'll let you guys talk to it. Let the chat answer. Look, if DeMar DeRozan, first off, he has to opt out. He has a player option with the Spurs, with Greg Popovich. I think we kind of see the trend of that team going forward. Surprisingly, it looks like the Pop era of, obviously making the playoffs is over. They're probably going to go into a rebuild, right? So if DeMar DeRozan opts out and he wants to take backup money and come here to be a six-man, yes. However, if DeMar DeRozan wants to come here and get paid $28 million a year and start, no, absolutely not. We already have problems with shooting the ball. Do we need another guy like that in our starting lineup? Absolutely not.
You nailed it on the head, and I'm glad you addressed and you made those points right there, because people were going crazy on me about that, about the whole DeRozan thing. Obviously, we're not stupid enough to think to pay this guy all-star money when he's clearly, like, he's a bad fit on the Sixers. But like you said, imagine DeRozan is that sixth man off the bench, all of a sudden you may have the sixth man of the year on your hands.
Do you guys think that DeRozan will come off the bench for us?
I don't. I think he would be a starter, but what do you guys think?
You think he would be a starter as in
I think he wants to be a starter somewhere.
Okay.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I'm just looking at it from DeMar DeRozan's personality, like the way he has held himself over his last couple teams. I don't see DeMar DeRozan at this point in his career. How old is he? Like 31, maybe 32, something like that. I don't see him wanting to take a bench role, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, he's 31. Again, I wouldn't want him. Like, I'm really intrigued by that bench idea, and maybe like with the Sixers having the staff that they do, Doc Rivers, Daryl Morey, etc. Maybe they could talk him into being that guy. He's probably a starter on most teams in the NBA, but I just don't love his fit. You're bringing in a guy. He'd instantly be. I mean, he can shoot the mid-range shot, but spacing would be terrible with Ben Simmons and the guys on there. I don't know. I'm not too intrigued by that personally. I see what you're saying.
You're out on him at any circumstance at all. You don't want DeRozan in here? I'm just asking.
Only if he'd be willing to take on that bench scenario that you brought up. I mean, I guess that's just me being hopeful. I don't know.
I completely agree with you. Like if he doesn't want to take a bench role, I'm out on him. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think he wants to be a starter. I think he has something left in the tank. I mean, 31, like he's up there, but he was great in Toronto, as we all know. He killed us. I've seen him drop like 40 on us at times. But I mean, sheesh. If he wants to come off the bench, go right ahead, DeRozan. I mean, please come off the bench. Why? I'll pay you the money that we're giving Horford to come off the bench. Not $100 million, but I'll give you the money. I'll give you money to come off the bench. I know what you'll do. Mid-range.
But do you think he would actually take that?
No.
I don't either.
I don't think he will. I think he could go to a team somewhere and be a starter and get paid more personally.
Yep.
It's a matter of, does he care about winning or does he care about money? Because he's made his money in the NBA. He got that max in Toronto. He got that. But does he want to win? Does he want to, make a case for a Hall of Fame career, or is he just calling it quits and getting paid somewhere where he'll never win, like a Detroit or, somewhere like that?
All right. Hey, I'll let you guys, one of you guys, throw out the next name if you guys have any.
Definitely not that one. Definitely
That's
not.
interesting, man. DeMarcus Cousins, but I'm so over big men at this point. Like, just find if you trade Horford, you probably need to find a backup. I mean, Norvell Pell is fine, but you can find so many teams do it, and it's small ball. I want to see Ben. I'm not saying make him like the backup 5, but try small ball 5 with Ben Simmons from time to time. You can find a cheap backup big. I mean, it happens every offseason. Every team finds them. For whatever reason, we can't do it. I don't know why.
There you go. You guys have any free agents that you want to throw out there? Anyone you're inquiring about, thinking about?
I gotta take a look at them. The Sixers have just come back into my world of sports. I gotta take a look at them.
Here's one right here. I made a video a couple months back about top free agents. This guy was in the list. Danilo Galinari. Look, the guy's getting old. He's at probably the end of his prime, but some of his best seasons have come in the last couple of years. He was on the OKC team this year, where he obviously helped. He didn't help carry that team, but he was definitely an offensive force. I think he was averaging 20 points a game. Could he come here? Now, I would not overpay for Danilo Galinari, but if he wanted to come here on a lesser contract, play alongside, obviously doesn't have to be your number one option. I think Gallinari could be an option. I'm not saying he's my top choice, but definitely someone for me to look at in free agency. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'd love it if they could somehow afford it. They'd probably have to move Horford or Tobias to get it done. And he's a guy who I think he did play under Doc Rivers on the Clippers, if I'm not mistaken. Was Doc I think he might have been the coach before he got moved. He's comparable to Tobias. Like he's like a 3 or 4. He's like the same type of player. He's a better shooter. So that's really intriguing to me personally. Tobias is probably better all around, but it's close between them two. I mean, I'd be intrigued for sure.
There you go.
Yeah. Some free agents that I'm currently looking at right now that would help, but I just can't see them coming here. I can't see them leaving where they're at right now. Goran Dragic is definitely a guy that I would love to have on this team as a backup point guard. I just can't see him leaving his situation in Miami right now because he fit that role perfect. Evan Fournier, he's a pretty good player. He's not that old. I thought he was a lot older looking him up, but he's not that old. I would definitely take him. He could definitely shoot. He's been a pretty solid piece there in Orlando for a few years. Bertans and Joe Harris, I really don't think I really need to say any more about those two.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they bring to the table. They're terrible at defense, but my God, give me those threes constantly. Van Vliet, I don't think you're going to get him. He's going to go he's a Terry Rozier type player. He's going to go to a terrible team, make money, and never do anything in his career again. Jay Crowder, I like him. Jeremy Grant reunion, I would love that. Just don't know how that would really work with the contracts. I think it would have to be. I think if you were to get one of Gallinari and Grant, you would definitely have to move somebody off this team.
What do you think about this guy right here? Obviously going to be one of the highly, targeted free agent shooters, Davis Bertans. We saw him actually cook the Sixers a couple of times this year. I know you guys remember that Wizards game earlier in the year when he absolutely cooked us, especially in the first half. To me, he's probably going to be one of the top 3 shooters on the free agent market. Do you guys think it's realistic? And would you like to have him here?
I don't know if it's realistic. I mean, I think he was like top 5. He might have cracked top 5 in 3-point shooting in terms of at least percentage. But he hit a lot of threes. Really efficient guy. He was somebody I wanted at the trade deadline. I was really pounding the table for him. If they could somehow work things around where they somehow create some cap space to sign a guy, sign me up. He is lethal from 3. You want to talk about, he's up there with guys like Buddy Hield, all the top shooters in the league. He was in the 3-point contest. You get the deal. Sign me up.
Yeah, same. I would love a Bertans on this team, 100%. And he's pretty tall. He can go grab you a couple rebounds. I like him, but again, this team, you're gonna have to move something. Whether it's Tobias or Horford, you got to move one of them. I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to get anything if you don't. That's how I personally believe that this offseason is going to go. They're going to move one and then figure it out after that.
Yeah, I agree. Somehow, some way, I think we're going to bring in shooting. I think there's going to be at least one guy via trade. I think there's going to be at least 1 or 2 via free agency. And then hopefully the draft. Well, we have a first-round draft pick, and then we have 4 second-round picks. You could always package those guys together and then, see what happens. But Eric R. was going on, says, I think we'll add Buddy Hield and draft a player and then sign some guys. This year will be about rebuilding Tobias Harris's trade value. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see. Edward says, Ben doesn't need a 3-point shot. What is your guys' thoughts on that? Because there's definitely a lot of back and forth, especially in his fan base when it comes to that.
If he wants to be considered one of the guys, I think he needs to do it. I'm not saying go out there and be Steph Curry, but you gotta attempt some threes, maybe a couple a game or whatever. We're just asking for him to shoot, forget like the percentages or whatever. You got to do it if you want to be one of the top guys in the league. And I think, I don't know, man. Doc Rivers, you're going to get the best version of Ben Simmons nonetheless. So you should be excited to see that.
Hey, before 4-4 answers this, I just want to say to this comment, no.
Oh, man.
Please.
Hell no.
No.
You shouldn't be allowed to get a ring.
Go ahead, 4-4. Go ahead.
It would be nice if he had one, and I do think he'll shoot them. Again, he doesn't have to be Damian Lillard, doesn't have to be Steph Curry. Just take them. Take them. It opens up the floor a lot. If he takes them, we'll be good. But I don't think he needs to be as consistent as people want him to. Like, they think he's going to be Steph Curry. They think if he shoots them, it's just going to automatically go in. It's not. It's really not. But if he shoots them and they got to play up on him. His first step, I'll take his first step over any players in the league. Maybe besides Westbrook, LeBron, guys like that. But to be put up in the same conversation with those two on those first steps to the hoop on, press coverage. Yeah. Or pressed up play, press coverage, football, whatever. But yeah, you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, I think Ben Simmons, in my opinion, I think he needs to develop the shot to become his full self. I don't want him to forever be, just a 4 or, a point forward or whatever and just not shoot the ball. But I know he can shoot. I've seen it, and I know it's going to develop. And they just got to get him over that confidence hump, in my opinion. Oscar Lou says, I'm in for John Wall. I would love that. I just don't think it would be feasible, in my opinion. Chris says, I miss Rocco. What do you guys think about that? Another Sixers reunion.
I go back and forth with Rocco. I wasn't one of those big, you get a lot of the process Sixers fans that loved him. I mean, he has a role. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if we went out and traded for him, but I think you need more of an offensive type. Like Rocco can shoot, don't get me wrong, but you need a guard who can shoot and dribble. I don't want the guys who, when you give them the ball and they don't have an open three, panic and turn it over. I'm over that. I want guys. You need shot creation. That's what we need.
I like Rocco. I like Dario. I just don't. I think Dario's a higher possibility of coming back than Rocco, because Dario's career has been little to nothing since leaving Philadelphia. He was on the Timberwolves for a short stint, and then he was traded to the Suns. He might even be a free agent now. That's just how much I know nothing about Dario Saric anymore, but I would definitely welcome him back on a veteran's minimum at this point in his career and give him back his old numbers so I can wear that jersey that's just been sitting in my closet for 3 years now. I mean, I would like it. I would definitely like a Dario Saric back on this team.
There you go. Maybe I'm just the pessimist, but I don't want either of them back. It was nice seeing Dario play hard every night. It was nice seeing Rocco, and his defensive ability is legit. But just from a scoring standpoint, I just don't see enough in those guys. That might just be my personal opinion. I just don't see enough on a team that might contend for a championship.
Right.
That's just how I feel about it. I love them in the process, but I just don't want any more of that. I have another one to ask you guys about. We can keep going on this. Senor Juan says, is Victor Oladipo a possibility? Would fit perfectly when he's an all-star. Great shooter and defender. Could also help with closing an issue we have had. Don't know about you guys, but there's been a lot of trade circulation around Victor Oladipo. A lot of people don't think he's going to return to Indiana. They now have a new coach, who, by the way, is not Mike D'Antoni. Pretty interesting. Mike D'Antoni goes to Brooklyn. And a lot of people think that the Pacers are going to try to go a different direction. They think he gets hurt too much. What do you guys think?
I like Victor Oladipo. I don't think his fit here is perfect. I think he's actually too much. He can shoot. I don't know what his percentages were. He's probably about average in terms of shooting, but he can really, he can create his own shot, get to the basket, defend. I don't love his fit. I think it would cost too much to bring in a guy that you're not really sure about. That's why I'm more intrigued with guys like Buddy Hield, guys who can come in and really knock down the three. But I wouldn't be mad. I think you'd have to give up a lot for a guy like Oladipo, and like you said, injury history too.
Before I get into the yes or no, do you guys? What would we have to give up for a guy like Victor Oladipo? Just like you guys say yours, and then I'll say what I think we would have to give up.
I'll let Steve answer that first.
I mean, I don't know what the market would be. I haven't seen a whole lot of mock trades for him. I'm assuming, like with the Sixers, it's always going to be, a deal centered around. It would be Horford. I'm assuming they would want a young player or two to go along with them. So probably like Matisse, and they're going to want draft picks too. But I wouldn't be surprised if they commanded a guy like Tobias even for a guy like Oladipo.
Yeah. In my opinion, Victor Oladipo, I think, is 28. And obviously he's coming off a couple bad injuries and everything. I'm not sure if he's on a max. I don't think he is. Maybe I'm wrong. I actually think the Pacers would. I'm not saying this is what would be given up. I think they would try to get a first round out of somebody. I really do. I think you might send a player and maybe a first, but I think that's what they would demand. I do think the asking price would come down given his injury history, because before the injury, Victor Oladipo made a couple All-Star games. But after that, there is a lot of concern about this guy. Can he play a full 82? So I think it would end up being a player swap with a couple picks in there as well. But that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Richardson, Matisse, and 2 firsts for Sabonis and Oladipo. Yes or no?
I forgot about Jay Rich. How did I forget? I always assumed he was going to be traded.
Say that again.
Josh Richardson, Matisse Thybulle and 2 first rounders for Vic and a player of your choice or Sabonis.
No.
Nah.
Not 2 firsts.
What about
Because 1 first, if you project Victor Oladipo to stay healthy, yes.
Yeah.
And then you bring Sabonis in here too. But then again, you got to look at the fit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is Sabonis going to fit alongside Ben and Joe? I really think we need one of these undersized guards, again, who's going to feed off of Ben Simmons, vice versa. That's what I'm kind of looking for. You asked me this question a couple years ago. Well, I think my answer is different. But right now, I don't think we need this injury problem again with the Sixers. But
yeah, I mean, it would definitely – I would do Richardson – I would do Richardson in a first maybe for Vic. And a player like a Justin Holiday, 3-and-D.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I don't think I would want Victor Oladipo on this team, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, he just, injury history and his fit's not perfect. But now that you bring up Jay Rich, there was one guy who I always was targeting. I had this guy in my mind this whole time because I'm not sure. He's a guy on the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not sure with the 2 All-Stars they now have on that team what his fit really is. Spencer Dinwiddie is a guy who could be moved, and his contract literally matches up perfect with Josh Richardson. If you could swap those two, maybe they want a second-round pick as well. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be all in. Spencer Dinwiddie, that's the exact type of player I think we need.
I'm not hesitating on that deal. No way am I hesitating. You pull the trigger, not only because he's going to help the Sixers bench, but I guess I know you guys can guess the other reason why. So he doesn't kill us. Every single game, this guy annihilates the Sixers. I mean, you could even argue this guy got paid off of killing the Sixers.
He's on the list of Sixers killers, right? I mean, you got, what is it, Spencer Dinwiddie, the one Marcus Morris makes the list. I mean, we know the deal here. We know the deal.
TJ Warren tells us.
TJ Warren.
You get a guy like Dinwiddie, you take it automatically. Don't even hesitate. Drew Vertical, RB, Clay for Toby, and Al, risky, so doable. I'll tell you, man, the Warriors are not trading Clay. They're going to be back in Warriors contention this year. The only thing is that the rest of the league is going to be pretty tough too. So I just don't see them trading Klay Thompson. Philadelphia Eagles 1110 says Robin Lopez. To me, he's a little bit too past his time. I don't really think he's that much of an NBA player anymore. I'll let these guys give their quick opinions on that.
I'm guessing that's a free agent, right? Not a trade guy?
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's just another one of you can find a backup big. I mean, is it Robin Lopez? I don't know. He's kind of washed.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Glenn Robinson? That's another one. To answer your question, Jack, I would say absolutely on Alec Burks. Glenn Robinson, I'm a little iffy. It depends on what he's looking for, in my opinion. I think he has a lot more to offer that we saw when he was with Golden State last year. But then again, he also got injured. So that's how I'm feeling about it.
Sorry, I just saw one of these trade down here. Oh, no.
Hey, don't worry. We're going to get to it. Hey, shout out to All 90 in the chat, too. Hey, smash the like button on all the channels. Hit the subscribe. We're going to keep going reading your comments. Shout out to everybody in here. And, yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about Glenn Robinson.
He's good. I mean, he's all right. He's not good. But he looked bad with us. Bad. Like, he couldn't buy a shot. For what, like the first 10 games, he missed 3. Like, he didn't make a 3 for like his first 22 attempts. Like that, like he was a 3-and-D guy. Like, we got him for a second-round pick, which was a good trade at the time, but he really wasn't good.
Yeah. I might bring him back. I think under a new coaching regime, and maybe you can get him for cheap. I like his skill set, and maybe Doc Rivers values more of a veteran type of player like that coming off the bench. So, if you can get him for a cheap price, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, I hear you. If you get him for a cheap contract and he's an end of the bench type of guy, I would say yeah. But he's got to show up right away. Mm-hmm. People say Tobias is slow. Seth Curry for Josh Richardson.
Oh,
I'm going yes on this one. If it's just a straight up, I don't know the contract of Seth Curry. My guess is that he would be making less than Josh Richardson, but that's literally just a guess off the top of my head. If it's a similar, contract swap, I'm saying yes to this one.
I think I am too. And honestly, I think Dallas would do this because I think they're looking. I mean, they have shooting all over that roster. They need defense, and Jay Rich in that starting lineup or whatever they want to do with him alongside Luka. And then the Sixers are bringing in Seth Curry, where they clearly need that type of guy. It's a win-win for both teams. I think I would do that trade.
Let me ask you guys. I mean, Juan here says Jay Rich is valuable, can score, good defense, has energy. Someone said Superhero 18, what's going on, bro? Says Jay Rich is a bench talent. He's a Willie Green clone, especially with his defense gotten worse as the season went along. Real quick, what are your guys' take on Jay Rich? Do you think he should be on this roster going forward? Do you think maybe he didn't have a chance to be the Miami Jay Rich himself under, this system last year? What do you guys think?
Honestly, for a while I was all about moving him and trading him, but now I wouldn't be upset if they brought him back. I trust Doc Rivers, the coaching staff, to really use him correctly. I think when I was looking at his career stats this past year, he put up some of the worst numbers in his career, and I blame that a lot to Brett's horrible scheme. I think Jay Rich, he was kind of, you could argue, playing out of position at a lot of times too, and I don't think he's going to shoot as badly as he really did. So, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I wouldn't be super upset if we held on to him.
Yeah, I mean, I like Josh Richardson. He's all right, but I definitely would throw him in a trade. I mean, if we could get like a superstar type talent or a star talent, and they want Josh Richardson, you could take him. I mean, I'm not going to be upset about it. I would literally only probably get upset about two players getting traded, and that's Embiid and Joel, or Embiid and Simmons. But Richardson, he's all right. He's a good piece, but I feel like you could definitely find better, I think, especially for like what he does.
Yeah. Crack says we need a cheap small forward who can shoot. I would agree with that. Matisse Thybulle is better than Rocco. No doubt Matisse is going to be better than Rocco. I'm telling you, the upside on Matisse Thybulle, given the circumstances last year, and if he can knock down some shots, I think Matisse is going to be an all defender for years, like years upon years. You pair that alongside the defense of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, man. Doc talked about he wants to improve the defense of this team. He wants the pace and just really just the aggressiveness of this team, especially on the defensive side, because, we had all we talked about was bully ball and then just clamming teams together, not letting them in the paint. And that's really all we did. You give Doc Rivers a piece like Matisse Thybulle. Oh my gosh. I just have high hopes for him. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why I wouldn't really understand the point in trading for Rocco. Matisse is a younger, potentially maybe could be better version of Rocco. So, that's why I also said Matisse is, I'm not saying he's untouchable, but I prefer to hold on to him.
Yeah, like Matisse is definitely 3 on my list of, untouchables. But, I mean, he shouldn't be traded. And, thinking about Matisse Thybulle, since he's the topic right now, does he start? Should he start this year over Richardson? Move Richardson to the bench, make him your 6th if you can't find somebody?
My opinion on that, I'll let Steve speak to it. The roster is not going to look the same. So I think we got to wait a month to determine that. My opinion right now, I would say no, not yet. But don't get it twisted. In another year, Matisse Thybulle will be a starter on the Sixers.
Yeah, RB nailed it. I agree. We don't know what the roster is going to look like. And if you were to ever consider starting Matisse, like obviously you're doing it for his defense, but I think his shot needs to improve and be a little more consistent. If that improves, absolutely. He can start on really any team in the league.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading one down here, and I'm just going to say it out loud. Tatum cooked Thybulle, so he's not obviously Jason Tatum is going to cook a rookie, but let's be honest here. Josh Richardson stopped Kemba Walker, and Kemba is a much better player than Josh Richardson is. But, comparing defense to an offensive player, like a great offensive player, a great player in Jason Tatum, I mean, that's a bad That's a bad matchup for Matisse. It should be. But
who's that? Jimmy J? Yeah, he's a Celtics fan. I haven't heard from him since the second round, but there you go.
And now he just said he's only 1 year older than Matisse. Cool, dude. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. He's been in the league since 19. Matisse has been in the league 1 year. That's a terrible. You can't compare age when it's experience in the league. It's experience in this league that gets you to be an all-star. It's experience in this league that gets you championships, that makes you the player that you are, not age. You're not going to, especially from a kid from Washington, he wasn't ever going to come in and just be Kawhi Leonard. He wasn't going to be that guy.
Jimmy I see he says he went to the third round. Yeah, my fault. I forgot because you guys are irrelevant anyway. You didn't win. You got taken off by a team of Young Bucks. So at the end of the day.
Hold up. Yeah, Celtics fans, you guys must have hit a new all-time low if you're comparing your superstar franchise cornerstone to a role player off our bench. Come on, man. Get out of here with that.
Right. Like, you guys were all happy up in here in my chat, and then you guys seemed to disappear, did a disappearing act. So is what it is, man. Matisse replaced Rocco. Just need to work on the shot. Better defender. I don't know why he's in trade talks. Superhero says, if you got a D Rose to come off your bench, would supplement it perfectly. I completely agree. Absolutely should target D Rose in a trade. He's going to be a salary dump with the Pistons. At this point, it's just like they're going in a different direction. And he's been playing up to par. He's been playing quality basketball. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I'd love D Rose. That was a guy I wanted at the trade deadline.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Derrick Rose too.
Let's see. We should get IT on a minimum. Ooh, that's a little bit of a risky one, man.
Yeah. He might be washed.
He's done.
Let's see. I wouldn't trade 2 firsts for Oladipo given his injuries and production. Kevin says, would you trade Tobias and Al Horford for Buddy Hield, Barons, and a first rounder?
He means Harrison Barnes, I think.
Oh, okay. So Buddy, Harrison Barnes, and a first. We're getting a first in return? Yeah, absolutely. But that's not going to happen. If anything, we're going to be the ones having to give up a first just to clear that contract, to be honest.
Yeah. I would do it, but that first round pick, you can't say no to that. Come on. You're giving me a first round pick to take that garbage? Go ahead, dude. You're giving the player that everybody in the city wants anyways.
Get rid of Scott, Al, Zaire, J. Rich, and Korkmaz. Plug in Bertans, Crowder, and Schroeder. Is Dennis Schroeder a free agent? I'm not sure if he has like a player option, but man, he balled out this season.
Yeah, he did.
He absolutely balled out. Let's see. Leon, what's going on? Mo Bamba can fit with Joel Embiid. What do you guys think about that?
That man is a song. He is a song. He is done. I have not heard one good thing about him since being in the NBA. Has he even played? He's always either injured or he's always something for that Magic team. And he was really hyped up because of that song. But he's I don't want Mo Bamba.
I hear you. Drummer Boy says, why does everyone want stars? Just get players that are good 3-and-D guys around Joe and Ben. Example, Miami Heat. That's kind of an interesting question. Like, do you guys think a team built like Miami, or I know, and I guess you could say they had 2 stars. I don't think Bam had the title star yet, but I do think he will. Do Do you guys think a team built like that with speed and even though they're a little bit undersized, maybe inexperienced, you think a team can win it all like that? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, not them specifically, obviously, because they didn't. But I think the Sixers, if they tried that formula, I think they absolutely can because they have the star talent. You know, Ben and Joel, you could argue both of those guys one day, or really that matter now, are probably better than Jimmy Butler. Bam is not really a star player. He's a nice guy, nice player, two-way player. But if the Sixers like followed that idea, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading the comments. Who are we talking about?
Just so I think was it URB or did somebody in the comments mention they just thought can you build a team what is it around?
I think you can, especially with these two. I mean, according to Miami fans, Bam Adebayo is the best center in the league at this point in his career already. Don't know where that came from. But, it could definitely work. As I said before in this, Ben Simmons creates three-point shots for people, and they make them. So you give them 3-point shooters. You spread the floor. You free up Embiid in the paint. You free up Simmons up at the top of at the key. Anything's possible. But it would make me feel better if you got at least a star. A star. Not a superstar, a star.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can build around those guys. We're going to read – I see people want us to read their trade proposals and stuff. We're about to get to that. Couple more here. This is an interesting one. Look, I'm going to save my answer for last. I'm going to let you guys answer. Josh B., would you take a chance at Gordon Hayward? Don't know if you guys have been keeping up with all the news. It seems like Gordon Hayward is not going to be playing in Boston next season. I think he has like a $30-something million option. I was like, Gordon Hayward's going to take that, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? Especially with the Celtics who will probably contend, go to the playoffs, whatever. But apparently it seems like Gordon Hayward wants to start somewhere. It seems like he wants to go for that contract because – if he goes down again, he's gone down a couple times, serious injuries. We remember the disastrous ankle injury. If he goes down again, he's not going to get a long-term contract. He might not even get another job. So he's going to try to go for a long-term deal. I've heard the Pacers. I've heard teams like that. I'm going to let you guys take this one. What do you think about Gordon Hayward to the Sixers?
I'm going to keep this short and sweet, guys. No, I don't want anything to do with Gordon Hayward, man. That's just me, though.
Nah, I don't Hayward. Come on. I don't want that. His contract's too much, and he's washed. He's not Gordon Hayward in Utah. He's now Gordon Hayward.
See, I'm gonna be on the other side. Like, am I giving Gordon Hayward a long-term 4 or 5 year deal? No, not happening. But if Gordon Hayward was to take less money, a guy who I think can still produce, he's not going to be a number one. He might not even be a number two, but I think he can still produce. I don't know. You put Gordon Hayward in alongside Ben and Joe, he's able to delegate. He doesn't have to be the top option. You give him a coach like Doc Rivers, I don't know. I feel like Gordon Hayward, we know he had this weird bromance with Brad Stevens. But at the end of the day, as he started to get faded out, he missed a month of the playoffs. But when he came back in, he was okay. I think he could survive next to these guys. Just my opinion, though.
Yeah, you got a point. I just think the injury history and the contract, and I don't love his fit. He could, like you said, those are good. You said good things. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I don't know if I love his fit here.
Yeah, I hear you. It's definitely an interesting one. Shout out to Asia Roberson in a chat. Appreciate the $5 donation. Says RB, me and Let's Go Birds agreed to trade Karis LeVert and a Brooklyn Hoagie for a first-round pick. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm giving up a first-round pick, but You give me Karis LeVert, I'll take him any day.
Yeah.
You give me that. I don't know how those Brooklyn Hoagies are, but I'll trade you a Philly cheesesteak in return. And maybe we'll be even. You know what I mean? But, hey, Karis LeVert would be a huge bench piece for us, in my opinion. I would love him.
Yeah.
Karis LeVert, I'll take not for that, but I would love a Karis LeVert.
Yeah.
Didn't you just get paid? I think he just got money.
Yeah, he did get paid, I believe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where are we at? What would you give up to get Michael Porter in a trade? We would be nice with him. I wanted us to draft him. I loved Michael Porter all the way back to high school. I thought he would be a great pick. But then again, you know, we went a different direction. I don't know what I would give up to get him. I would love him here. I think he's going to develop. I think he's going to blossom.
Right.
I don't know what we could give up to get him.
He might be untouchable for the Nuggets, and it's just another. I mean, man, we blew. Let me tell you, how about that draft? We blew it, man. You had Michael Porter Jr. there, Mikal Bridges, who, by the way, was the perfect fit, and you move him. Zaire Smith has done nothing. I talked myself into Zaire, but he's just done nothing for this team, man.
I got a funny story about that draft. I went to that draft. That was the first draft I've ever gone to, and I was in. Like, I loved Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
I went for that reason alone. That I knew, I had a feeling that the Sixers were going to draft him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, when we drafted him, I was like, let's go. I was freaking out. And 36 minutes later, I literally remember that 36 minutes later, he was traded. And I was miserable for the rest of the draft because I had no idea why we would ever trade him for a guy from Texas A&M or Texas Tech or wherever Zaire Smith came from. Made no sense.
Terrible. I still don't understand it to this day, but that's just me. We're going to read through some more of these real fast. I'm just going to put these up on the screen. We can go around and say yes or no if you'd be interested in them. Eric Gordon. I think Daryl Morey could definitely pull for Eric Gordon, but that's just on me. I would say yes.
Yeah, I'm for it.
Yep.
Kevin Love.
Nope.
Oh, get me away from forwards. Guards, guys. Name guards, please.
Yeah. I'm out on Kevin Love. Aaron Gordon, I'm probably out on him. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm out. He's a good player. Just, again, I want guards, please.
Maybe. I'll say maybe on that one.
Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm with it.
I think it would be all right. Kyle, I made a video about this guy, Austin Rivers. I think he would be at least a try, right? If he doesn't pan out, you get rid of him. It's fine. He's not going to cost much, probably a minimum deal. Bring him back to play under his dad, you know?
Heck yeah. He was a good bench piece for Houston.
He was. He became a much better shooter. A lot of people are mad because his relationship with his dad kind of derailed Chris Paul's tenure with the Clippers, but people learn and grow. I don't know. I would take a chance on him. Or big, can we release Al Horford or not? Definitely not. Not happening.
No, I mean, no.
No. We would have to trade him, and it's going to be very hard, to be honest. Let's see. Sixers got to try to trade for two former players, JJ and Drew. What would it take? Kind of touched on this earlier. In my opinion, it's going to take at least a couple picks. I don't think it'll require a first, but I think it'll take a couple picks and maybe a player like a Matisse. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I would do it. It just depends what it costs.
Yeah, I like those two a lot, but it would depend on a lot. I think we would actually move Horford in that deal too. I mean, he was one of those that was one of those teams that I said could use a Horford. You give us you give us a favors, you give us JJ and Drew. I think you could make something with the contracts work, something like that.
What do you guys think about this? Tobias and a first for Buddy Hield and Corey Joseph.
Nah, that's too much. I think that's too much. Take out the first round pick.
Yeah, I think Tobias is better than Buddy Hield, personally. I don't know how many people would disagree with that, honestly. But and you're giving him a first round pick. I think if we're giving up any first round picks, it's gonna be for a little bit better than that.
Yeah. For me, it'd be questionable. Like if we're trying to clear that contract, then maybe. And if we can align those guys together, I'm thinking about it. You put Al Horford in there instead of Tobias, it's an absolute yes for me.
Mhm.
Because we're gonna have to clear one of those contracts. I don't want to go into this next season with these 4 contracts like we have them now. And it's either Horford or Harris, and I'm hoping it's Tobias or I'm hoping it's Al Horford, but
Right.
let's see. Chris says, what are the odds we can convince Trey Burke to come back? Well, a lot more than now that Brett's not here.
Yeah. Boy did the Neto crowd look really bad in the playoffs, man. There was a group of Sixers fans that agreed that we should have kept Neto over Burke, and this man Burke is scoring 20 points off the bench for the Mavericks every other night.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Josh says Marcus Smart should be a player the Sixers should trade for. Would you take the deal? And Brooklyn Hoagies are great. Would I take Marcus Smart? Yeah. Would we be able to get him? No.
Yeah, we're not going to get him. I would like him, but
Yeah.
I hate Marcus Smart. Hate him. But I would definitely take him. He's definitely a guy that I would like on this team. But Boston,
yeah.
Boston will never do the stupidity that we did with them. They will never give us anything.
I think we need a tough guy on our team, and it would be someone like that you hate, but you like if they were on your team, you would love them. You know what I mean? Like a Patrick Beverly. I hate Patrick Beverly, but I respect him. And if he was on my team, I mean, imagine the Wells Fargo just going nuts.
Oh yeah, dude. Marcus Smart would be Marcus Smart would be a legend on the Sixers.
Yeah.
Morris twins. Marcus Morris. Specifically.
Dude, he shot well. He shot surprisingly well in some of them games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think he played well. Any chance just changing a style of play will make a lot of difference. Some guys were misused and didn't fit. You hit it right on the nail, man. That is the point of bringing in a guy like Doc Rivers. You look at what – I mean, we could talk about this all night, but, look at what he was able to do with the Clippers, right? Do we forget that he traded Tobias Harris with the organization traded Tobias with the intention of allocating cap space and picks. And that was, to go out and sign Kawhi and get PG and all that. But they traded Tobias Harris, and what did Doc Rivers do? He took a team led by everybody else. I mean, they got Landry Shamet in the deal. You had Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell developed, and he took that team to the playoffs and took 2 games from the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. Elevate talent. Brett Brown did nothing to that manner. None at all. Elevate talent. Look, I'm telling you, and I want all the people that want to trade Ben and trade Joe and all this crap. I want everybody to be here mid-season when these guys are playing a lot different. And I just want to hear the opinions because they're not going to be the same. Even Tobias Harris is going to look a lot different.
The Sixers could have 3 All-Stars this year with Tobias. I mean, it's a stretch because I definitely think Boston also has 3. I think Miami has 2. And I think there's, you got those Indiana guys. You got Toronto. You got guys. But Tobias is always hovering near that almost all-star guy. And with Doc Rivers, he would have been an all-star if he would have stayed on the Clippers. He would have been. He 100%.
Yeah.
It's just he's not the number 1 anymore. So we're going to have to see how he works now without having the ball in his hands all the time.
I agree. I think Joel Embiid is going to take a step up. I think Ben's going to play a different role, and I think Tobias is going to play a different role. You're just going to see a lot more movement, a lot more circulation in the offense. Jersey Boy says, will Doc play Ben at the 4 or the point? I gave my opinion on it. To answer your question, I would say I don't know. But he has stressed positionless basketball. I don't think it's going to be one guy strictly doing one thing the entire game, which I feel like we saw under Brett Brown. My dream scenario, again, is to have Ben Simmons play the point forward role. I think that's what you need to develop him into, especially if he shoots the ball. He can play. I'm not trying to compare him to LeBron, but he can play that way. You know what I mean? He can bring the ball down the floor sometimes. He can play off the ball. He can dime people up. People tend to forget how good of a passer Ben Simmons is. The guy's IQ is out of the building, but you have to get that guard next to Ben Simmons. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree. When Brett came out and said Ben was going to be like the 4 or whatever, I never knew if he meant permanently. I think under Doc Rivers, it's going to be a split. And I think Doc Rivers is smart enough to realize like when Ben was brought into this league, that was supposed to be his role. He was supposed to be a point forward, but the Sixers had one of the worst rosters in history. You know what I mean? So they decided, hey, Ben, you're our point guard. You know what I mean? And I think he can certainly do that, but ideally you bring in a guard who can play alongside him and split the duties with him.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, Paul George brought up the ball sometimes. Kawhi did too. He's been pretty solid with guys that can do everything. So just have to wait and see on that one. But I think he'll rotate.
To answer Superhero right here, it says, with Zaire Smith, he only played 15 games. We need to see if he can crack the rotation. I don't know. Maybe I'm too negative about it, but I'm done on Zaire Smith. It's over, in my opinion. But let's see.
Awful pick.
I think he's done. Like I don't even know if he's going to be an NBA player. That's just my opinion. But Sam says, I wanted Bridges. If not him, then Porter. That broke my heart. They tried to get cute by getting Zaire. Absolutely. Agree. Aaron Gordon for sure. Are y'all crazy? I'm not crazy. He just doesn't fit into our offense, in my opinion. He's a good player, but
he's one of those guys that I said earlier that shines on bad teams. That's him. He's great on a bad team because he can do what he wants. You think he's going to be shooting pull-up threes here? No. He's never going to have the ball in his hands. It's not going to happen. He'll never bring up the ball. Never.
I agree. Joey Shake 72, what's going on, bro? Says the three amigos just stopping by. Have a great night. Appreciate you for tuning in, my guy. If you guys aren't subbed to him and you like the Eagles, definitely go ahead and subscribe to Joey Shake 72. It's my guy. Shout out to him. Let's see. No, we're not giving up. Tease. Have you guys had one too many drinks or what? No. Or what? Nah, no. JJ or Drew. I think you had one too many drinks.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
I don't want to give up Matisse Thybulle. I don't want to give up Matisse, but I think we need to look at what's in front of us, and we know that Daryl Morey, I don't think he's going to feel the same. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, Daryl Morey and Doc love guys like Matisse Thybulle.
Oh, man. Do you guys want Boogie Cousins for cheap? I do not. Let's Go Bird says this is the Doc Rivers era. The name Brett Brown is banned in Philly. He's done, man. He's not. I mean, no. Stop it. Marquise Morris has a ring and his brother doesn't. We already have proven defenders. Sixers just don't know how to fit Ben in the backcourt. That would lock up the court. I mean, I think he's, like I said, I think he's going to be played in a variety of roles. That's just my opinion. Let's see. Doc's going to have everyone in position. Do you think Korkmaz will be back? I have a feeling he will, to be honest. Just a gut feeling, but
he will. I don't know about Furkan.
Danny Green.
No. He needs to stop talking. He has been annoying the last week. Stop talking. Get the mic away from. Get the Twitter fingers away from him because he needs to stop. And he's a brick. Let's be honest here. He's a brick.
Oh man. Ben needs a Kyrie type next to him. Exactly. I completely agree.
Please no Kyrie.
Not Kyrie.
I got a name for you guys. I forgot about him actually. He was a trade target of mine, and his contract matches up with Horford's. Would you guys? I'm sure you would, but I'm not sure what it would cost. Would you guys move Horford to the Charlotte Hornets for Terry Rozier?
Yeah.
How much is Terry getting paid?
I think it's like 3 years, 19 mil a year around that range. He averages like 18, 19 points a game, and he shot 40% from three actually this past year.
He was the Sixers killer before he went to Charlotte.
Yeah, another one right there.
But he would definitely fit this team better than Horford does. I mean, you get him. You could play him in a couple different spots on the team. He could be your sixth man. He could be your starting point guard. He could do a lot. I hate Horford so much that I would do it, but I just like Horford. It's it's nothing against him. It's just he killed my team, and then now he's on my team, and he's still killing them. Why? I just go at this point. Like at this point, just go. Because I don't want you anymore. He's not doing anything for me. So, yeah, I would do it.
There you go. Like 4-4 said, I would probably do it just because it's better than Al Horford. But, yeah, we still need a guard in here. Josh says we might get Fred VanVleet. He could play shooting guard or point. I would love Fred VanVleet, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
I would, too. He's going to cost some money, though. You're going to have to move Horford or Tobias. I mean, somebody's going to get moved. It's going to happen.
I agree. Look, I got one more name for you guys, and I'm looking up the contract here. He has a player option, and he's going way under the radar, and I think he'd be the perfect fit with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid if he stays healthy. Otto Porter, Chicago Bulls, 27 years old. Dude, I mean, he has talent, right? Otto Porter has talent. He just hasn't been able to stay on the court. If he could, though, he could shoot 40% from three. He can do everything. He's a nice wing to have. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of his. You know, it just depends how much he would cost. If you get a guy like that, then you can move Tobias to his natural position at the four because Otto Porter is a perfect small forward in the modern NBA.
I mean, his contract is $28 million a year, but if he doesn't take the player option, I don't think he's going to get near that. And I don't know if the Bulls want to continue to have him on the team, given the direction they're going. So, might be a risk. But what do you guys think? What do you think, 4-4?
Yeah, I like him. I mean, he's definitely like you said, a modern NBA player. He's a modern small forward for the NBA. Shoots pretty good from threes. Good defender. He might or might not be related to Wilt Chamberlain. I don't know. There's been a lot of memes about that, but I like him. I would definitely do it if you can.
Yeah, my fault. I was looking at the chat here. Let's see. But yeah, I think Otto Porter would be a nice fit if he could stay healthy. But that's just me. Kevin says I think Shake Milton will shock people. What are your guys' thoughts on Shake Milton?
I'm a big fan. You saw what he did. I mean, he even produced in the postseason after he went on that crazy run. Doc Rivers, I was one of the first players he's mentioned because he killed the Clippers that one game. I think under a coach like Doc Rivers who develops and, like you said, elevates talent, I think he can get even better.
I like Shake. I do. He clearly can shoot, and that's really good. He needs So he needs good coaching, and that's exactly what this roster is going to give him at this point. Doc, Yeager, you got a lot of guys on this coaching staff. Sam Cassell, I think, is really going to take Shake under his wing, and I think because he's kind of like they kind of remind me of each other a little bit in a way. I mean, guards, shoot, pass pretty well. Off the bench guys.
Yeah, I hear you. I think the staff that we've assembled is insane. Before I talk about that, I see people here saying people are abusing the wrench. Look, if you abuse the wrench, man, you're gonna lose the wrench. It's as simple as that. We got moderators up in here for a reason. If people are being racist, violent, anything like that, get them out of here. If they're just giving their opinion, you don't need to do that. So I just want to put that out there. But shout out to all the people still up in here talking with us. We're definitely going to be doing this more often. Got a lot of draft content, a bunch of stuff coming out. So shout out to you guys. But to that point, I think the staff we assembled here is like, it's A1. I mean, you got Sam Cassell. You got Dave Yeager. You have Dan Burke from the Pacers. I don't know if you guys saw the interaction with Joel Embiid. That was hilarious. Then you got all these video coordinators that Doc's bringing in. Doc's bringing in his guys. And I'm excited for it because a guy like Dave Yeager is in line to get a job again, in my opinion. I think it's going to take a year, but having that kind of presence, I don't think Dave Yeager did terrible, especially in terms of the defensive side of the ball. Like, we have a lot of guys, a lot of basketball minds. That's the one thing that we were waiting for. And I think we're getting – like, I don't think analytics is going to be completely gone, especially because Daryl Morey is an analytics guy. But I think that we have more basketball minds in here, and that's important.
Yeah, I can't really think of another, talent-written coaching staff. I mean, the Nets are really good. They got that 60-win Phoenix Suns team as their coaching staff. Obviously, you got the Lakers, and I think the Clippers really downgraded. They went from Doc Rivers and to Ty Lue. They lost their assistant. They lost their G League coach. They've lost a lot, the Clippers. We pretty much took everything from them. We left them, but the Lakers, they got Jason Kidd. They got guys like that. But I think up for best coaching staffs, Sixers definitely got to be up there, I would think.
What do you guys think about this? Will Al Horford be a better player with Doc Rivers?
As much as I would hate to say it, yeah. I mean, I think Doc can get the best out of anybody, and if Al Horford is somehow still on this roster, there's no way Doc Rivers starts him. He'll play the backup big man role that he should have played in the first place.
To be honest, I don't really want to say it at all. I mean, if you can move Al Horford, you got to move him. At this point, you just got to do it. His contract is too big, and his production is too little. I don't know.
There you go. We could talk about a little bit of draft talk. I'm sure we'll be dropping vids in the next couple of weeks. Chris says, thoughts on the draft, Desmond Bane or Tyrell Terry? Leaning more towards Bane due to the fact Terry will be unplayable in the playoffs because of his awful defense. Bane is NBA ready. I like both guys. Personally, I'm going to be doing my breakdown on Terry soon. What do you guys think? Any thoughts?
I'm a big Desmond Bane guy. I like Tyrell Terry, but I'm not as high on him as other people are. His size concerns me. He's, and that's something I don't really know if he can make up for it. Whereas Desmond Bane, he's been in college for a couple of years. He's one of the best shooters in the draft, and he can play a little defense too. Not as much dribbling as like Tyrell Terry, but Desmond Bane is like my guy in the first round.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. I don't know a single thing about this draft class. I do a lot of my scouting in March Madness, and then I look at those guys. I see them. I just see what they can do. And then I look up the other highlights, but I could, before you just said their first names, I couldn't even tell you that. I don't know where they came from. I just don't know yet. But I'm sure during the next stream, I'm sure it's going to be a draft stream or something like that. So I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of research within the next couple of days.
Yeah. I like both. Personally, I think that you actually make a good point. Like, I think this year, I'm not sure if teams are going to just miss in the draft or if they're going to not think too hard at all because there is no March Madness. To my knowledge, there's no actual combine. So it's like pro days, but you only have a handful of limited individuals who can even look at the pro day. We don't really get that much film or anything from it. So I don't know. I feel like teams are going to miss like on some key guys who could fall later on. Sixers got picked 21. They got 4 picks in the second round. I think there could be some hidden gems later on.
Yeah, this draft doesn't have like as much like star talent, just to make it short and sweet for you guys. Not as much star talent, but a lot of really good role players, a lot of good shooters, and the Sixers have like 4 second-round picks. So, hopefully they value those assets that they have.
Yeah, I got to take your guys' word for it. Again, know nothing about this draft class. It's actually a shame because I knew a lot about the Eagles draft class. And this one is just like, who are you guys at this point? I mean, I just don't know.
It's going to be interesting, man. CJ says NBA should add 2 new teams and then Horford can go to one of those teams. Whose contract is worse, CP or Horford? I would say Al Horford, just because, I mean, the dude is not a starter, honestly, but.
Oh, it's easily Horford, man. Chris Paul, I mean, you can say what you want about his contract, but he carried that Thunder team to the playoffs. Al Horford was making all this money, and he looks like he doesn't even belong on an NBA roster.
Yeah, at least what's-his-face can play, Chris Paul. At least he plays.
Oh, man. Kevin says, with our 21 pick, do you draft a point guard? I think we do. Guy who can shoot, guy, again, who can complement Ben Simmons. So that's just my opinion. Joel, what's going on? Bring back Dario. That's a great move for the team. Mike Scott can go bring back my man Dario. We already touched on that earlier, but what about Harden? I'm sure you guys saw my video yesterday, but I'll let these guys speak to it a little bit.
I'm not giving up Ben or Joel. I'm not even entertaining that. I mean, if they would do a trade somehow where if we're not giving up one of those two, absolutely. But otherwise, nope.
Yeah, that's pretty much my whole thing. If you can get Harden without giving up Ben and Joel, 100%. 100% do it. I don't care what it is. Do it. But if Ben is in that team or is in that trade, no.
I'm kind of confused right here. Gene Mark, what's going on, man? This guy tunes into my stuff. So let me get this straight. So Mavericks coaching staff is better. Lou has won a chip. Am I missing something here?
Wait, what? I don't know.
Connecting 2 statements together?
I'm genuinely confused.
I think he's saying, I don't know. Maybe he's pointing out 2 different. There's no way.
If you think Tyronn Lue is a better coach than Doc Rivers, you're just tripping at that point. LeBron won that championship. Tyronn Lue didn't do anything. What did he do? Come on. What did Tyronn Lue do to help LeBron James in that finals? Nothing. Nothing.
I'm confused, man. Sam says, love kicking it with you young fellas. All 3 know basketball. Appreciate that, my guy. Let's see. 4-4 on his way to 1K. Let's give him some support. Hey, go ahead and sub up my guys, man. They work hard. They put out great content. And again, we're all going to be covering the Sixers this year. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. So shout out to them.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
you. Didn't bring Morey to not trade.
Geez, man. Can't take this. I don't know if I can deal with this all off season.
Didn't bring Morey to not trade Simmons.
Didn't bring Morey in to not trade Simmons. He's not trading.
So what?
There it is.
Yeah.
He said it himself. He said they're going to be on the team for at least the first year. At least. Can you at least give it to the deadline? Like you guys are shipping out Ben Simmons like he's like Vince Carter, like old Vince Carter. Like stop.
He says
He's not like you guys. He's a generational type talent that is a jump shot away from shutting everybody up. Seriously, because he does nothing else wrong on that basketball court except not shoot.
he says, "Don't say I don't problem solve for you." Come on, man. Aren't you a Cowboys fan too? That's pretty funny.
Danucci.
Thanks, fan. It's a lot of gems in the second round. Should check out Maxey and Ramsey. Definitely have my eyes on them. Again, there's gonna be a lot of gems, man. A lot of gems. Let's see. Tone to Shields. Appreciate the donation, my guy. Says dope stream. Keep beasting, fellas. Everybody eats. Appreciate that a lot, man. Shout out to you for all the support. Again, we got some good things coming on this channel, these guys' channels, Sixers YouTube. Honestly, it's gonna go crazy this year. I can't wait. But appreciate that super chat, my guy. Shout out to you. With that being said, we'll probably be on here for like 15 more minutes. You guys can ask us any questions in the chat. I think we covered a lot. Again, there's going to be videos every day, at least for me. I don't know about these guys, but covering draft stuff and, free agency and the season's coming up. If you guys are just tuning in, we're expected to start the season on December 22nd. That we're going to find out tomorrow. But we might be starting the season in a month and a half. The draft is 2 weeks from today. We got free agency starting after that. There's a lot that goes into this. So, a lot to talk about, man. It's all coming like a flash, but here we are. So, I'm gonna open up the floor to the chat, and if you guys have anything you guys want to bring up, feel free, fire away. A lot of good point guards in a second. Mason Jones, NBA ready. Keep the grind, bro. Appreciate that. I don't understand the Simmons slander. I don't get it at all.
I actually saw something yesterday that blows my mind. They said, who is the more frustrating Philadelphia athlete, Ben Simmons or Carson Wentz? Now, before you guys even answer that, why would anybody say Ben Simmons is more frustrating than Carson Wentz right now? Right now. I mean, Carson isn't. Like, come on. The dude has the most. And I am a Carson supporter until he is gone. But he is the most frustrating Philadelphia athlete in the city right now. And I don't think it's close.
Damn, I don't know, RB. What do you think?
I mean, if I'm comparing the two, Carson Wentz is much more frustrating right now. Now. Simmons is frustrating. I really don't. A lot of people think that I don't. But I guess that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
But, this is an Eagles, but Doug Peterson's the worst thing to happen in Philadelphia. That's what I got to put out there. I hate Doug so much. He's got to go. He's got to go.
Come on. We need a break, man. Can we stop getting, can we stop, like, I feel like the coaching in Philadelphia is just like, it just nags away at me. It's like we deal with Brett Brown. We finally get a revamp, and now we're dealing with this. It's just like, come on, man.
Every team's got a new coach except the Birds. I mean, I don't know. I think it's time. Get them both up out of there. Not Wentz, but
it's tiring, man.
Roseman.
It's tiring. Tone to Shields says, no doubt I do Eagles and Sixers content. Appreciate the support, love. Hey, go ahead and sub them up. Shout out to you, man. I'm going to definitely check out your channel. Appreciate you for all the support, my guy. Oh, man. But, yeah, the coach, I mean, these Philly sports take a toll on me, to be honest. It's like a lifestyle, but it's crazy. Kevin Love, trade Ben Simmons and a pick for James Harden.
Oh, man.
Nope.
Oh, man. Nobody wants that one. I'm not even going to
I'm just convinced. I'm convinced this stuff will never go away until Ben and Joel win a championship together, man. This is just something we're gonna deal with, and I'm just gonna start ignoring, honestly.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait for this season. This season is going to be a tale for sure. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to see a lot of advanced. People forget that Joel Embiid is 26 years old.
Yeah, he's not even in his prime necessarily either.
That's crazy. Ben Simmons is 24. Like, I don't know. People like it's just a Philly thing. Like, but at the same time, it's just like, why? Like, people don't appreciate what we have here until they go, right?
Yeah.
And when a guy leaves Philly, for some reason, he goes and wins a chip. So, I'm telling you, man. But hey, in terms of how the East is stacking up, like next year can be our year. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Terrence Ross will be a good pickup. Be an all right vet. I don't know what he'll cost, but maybe like a bench guy. Tone says, don't know if it was brought up. I would never trade for Harden unless we keep both Embiid and Simmons. Harden's not the same player when it matters most, and that is the playoffs. I agree, bro. I agree. Simmons is a tradable asset. Would you rather have Lillard or Ben? Wentz is worst.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
30 or 24. Like, seriously. James, what, 31? 30? I mean, why would you give him up for that?
Yeah. I'm not giving up Ben Simmons, man. That's just my opinion. But CJ says Rockets get Joel Embiid. Look, I'm going to put this straight like this. I'll let them talk about it. The Rockets are not going – first off, they're not going to trade James Harden because why would they do that unless they're going into a complete rebuild? Then they would have to trade Russell Westbrook. Yeah, that's right, Westbrook. The guy can't shoot for anything. And then when you look at it, all right, so you give Ben Simmons to the Rockets, okay. Then they're going to have to trade Westbrook again because guess what? They're not – who's putting a team together surrounded by Westbrook and Simmons? It's not happening. You give them Joel Embiid, well, I don't think we're going to give up Joel Embiid. It's not going to happen. So people want to make these dream scenarios, but how are you going to get James Harden to Philadelphia? Like, I don't – and let's not forget the guy's going to be paid $47 million in 2 years. I don't see how that's going to happen, bro.
I would love Harden. Don't get me wrong. Like, who wouldn't want James Harden on your basketball team? Come on. But Joel's not going anywhere, and Houston's not going to want Ben. Why would they? It doesn't fit them. If they're going to trade Harden, they're going to want to rebuild. And Ben Simmons isn't the guy to rebuild around. Like, he's a guy to rebuild around, don't get me wrong, but why? He's still going to get you wins.
Hey, let me ask you, though, like with James Harden, right? So he's one of the most prolific scorers. He's unbelievable what he can do with the basketball, right? But I feel like James Harden is at a point in his career now, 30 years old, going on 31, where he's got accustomed to a style of basketball. Like he's been playing a certain type of basketball under Mike D'Antoni. Do you really think James Harden can go back to the old James Harden, the Kevin McHale James Harden, the OKC James Harden? And could that fit around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid? I don't see that being possible.
That's actually a really good point you just made. I haven't heard a lot of people say that because I always hear a lot of people say, "Oh, he kind of played off the ball. He kind of played off the ball on the Thunder and stuff like that." Because James Harden's a top 5 player, but if you're bringing him here, like with Ben and Joel, like I don't know, man. Like you said, he's accustomed to a certain play style. He's old. Like all of a sudden, his contract, he may age really bad too. Like he's at that age where a lot of wear and tear on his body. You know what I mean? Those are good points you bring out.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I just don't see like a backcourt with Ben Simmons and James Harden. Like, can James Harden do it? Maybe, but he's gonna have to get used to playing a whole different way, especially with a dominant big man like Joel Embiid. And I just don't know if it would happen with the Sixers, but that's just me.
But then also maybe maybe that's what's been missing for him. That big man, like I mean, they had Clint Capella, but he doesn't compare to Joel Embiid's the best center in the league. Like he just doesn't compare. Maybe that's the missing, aspect right there. Like I almost wonder if you're hearing these rumors. Like Houston even said they wouldn't even do a deal Harden for Simmons straight up. But what if, Morey's got those connections? Maybe Harden's like, you know what? I lost my GM. We don't really have a shot at winning. Maybe he pushes a trade if the Sixers somehow pull it off without trading Ben or Joel. I don't know, man. That's a hard. I don't know how you don't do that.
The dude is making $40 million a year. Like
40, damn.
Yeah, and then next year's 41. The year after that's 44, and then 47 at age 34. I just don't see it happening, man.
Yeah, it's a pipe dream right now.
Look, it's Philadelphia. Probably ain't gonna happen, but it'd be nice. But this is what we do. I mean, come on here. We talk sports. We talk rumors. It's not just us that's just talking James Harden to the Sixers. It's Anthony Gargano. It's Mike missing out. It's everybody, and it should be everybody. I mean, James Harden is one of the best players ever. Honestly, it's probably top 25 ever, maybe.
Whoa,
top 25.
James Harden.
I mean, he might be. I don't know.
When it's all said and done, yeah.
It's James Harden though, man. Like if you're not trading Ben or Joel,
I don't know about top 25.
Look, I hate to say this because of the teams that I root for, but right now he's on pace to overtake Iverson.
But look,
shoot.
All right. Hold up.
Damn, 2 hours in.
Things. Number one, he is not taking over AI. And number two, at the end of the day, his style of play won't win a championship. There is
now
with the Mike D'Antoni style of play.
Yeah, where he's at. No. I'm saying if he moves, if he goes and wins, and he's still the best player or the second best player on the team, you don't think he's better than Iverson that has none?
No.
Ever? Because
but you got to realize, like,
Harden, ESPN has Harden over Iverson already.
You got to realize what AI did, and he never had as much as James Harden had around him in terms of shooting.
Right.
Look, I said maybe.
This is a good debate. No, I love debating these types of things. I just look, James Harden until maybe last year or the year before wasn't even known as a credible defender. They were openly mocking this guy. And AI was undersized and came out, and I mean, this dude was tough. I mean, it's a different era, so it's kind of hard to compare, but I don't know, man. I mean, AI just has that dog in him.
Well, see, this is my issue, and like that's your opinion. You're allowed to feel that way, but like this is my issue with the modern NBA, modern basketball, and you see it. I mean, I'm young, but you see it in a lot of young kids who watch basketball. Every player in this era is going to put up more points, better percentages because the game is just officiated that way. More fouls are called, the game's faster. Like you can't tell me if Allen Iverson played in this game. I mean, the dude probably could average 40 a night. I mean, he was doing that on that Sixers team with no shooting around him. Watch highlights, the spacing's terrible. He's out there getting bumped, pushed around. I mean, we get the deal here. I mean, we're Sixers fans. We know what Allen Iverson did.
Yeah, I'm not saying it. ESPN is saying it. They say already James Harden is better than Iverson. Already. They have James Harden in the top 30 all time. All time. They have him right below Chris Paul. Chris Paul.
Let's get some of the chat's take on this. Before Tone DeShield's good question. Is Doc the most respected head coach in Philly since Andy Reid? Agree or disagree?
I agree. I mean, Doug Peterson earned the confidence, right?
Yeah. The only other guy I could think of is Joe Girardi, but I would say Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
It's a good question, though.
That is a good one.
But hold on. Let's get some of the – wait, did you want to say something about it?
I'm thinking – I mean, Girardi's the only one that has a championship other than Doc to come in. But, from around, like, I know obviously, the NHL isn't compared to the three leagues that everybody talks about, but Alain Vigneault is pretty highly respected in hockey. But in Philadelphia, I mean, to be honest with you guys, I didn't even know who Alain Vigneault was coming into the last season. But, I mean, Doc Rivers, I would probably have to go, yeah. Him or Girardi, definitely, easily.
Yeah. Thoughts on maximizing Embiid and Simmons' skill sets together while sharing the court? Absolutely. That's what Doc is primed to do now. But yeah, let's hold up. Harden's not built for Philly critics.
Damn.
Interesting. Do you realize other teams see Simmons as a complete bum? I
Who?
worried to care.
Who? Because every team in the league would love to have a Ben Simmons. Stop. Come on. He's a top 5 point guard in the league.
What's going on, Max? Can James Harden even play off the ball? Hold up. Let's get some of these.
For the people in the chat, why do you hate Ben Simmons? Outside of the fact that he can't shoot. Give me a reason. Give me a legit reason why you think Ben Simmons sucks. Outside of the fact that he can't shoot. And I guarantee you can't.
Hold up. Where did these? Here we go. So, dang, these comments are coming fast, but
We still got a lot of people in here.
yeah, we got a good 75 people in here. I just want to get some takes on this though. AI was a beast. James Harden is up there, but I don't want to take him. AI had 10 steals in a game. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Iverson took our Sixers on his back. Remember that Suns Sixers game where Al drains a 3 when the shot clock expired? AI over Harden. Good debate. Not even 6 feet and take to the finals. That's what I'm saying. Like, AI was just different, man. I would have loved to see him in the modern NBA, but where, like, all right, so going off that take, where do you think James Harden is at in the NBA now? Like the modern NBA?
In terms of his ranking, like,
Yeah.
I mean, he was like top 5 this past year. I mean, see, that's the thing. Kevin Durant's coming back. Ben and Joel can make a leap. Who knows? I mean, he might. It's hard to say. Mike D'Antoni's no longer the Rockets. I don't know, man. They're gonna be a mess. Harden might dip. This might be the year he declines.
That's what I'm saying. He might leave.
Or
I
that
don't know.
too. Yeah, he may want to leave. Right.
So you think Harden is a top 5 player in the league, like overall?
Yeah, I mean, what would you say? Like, this is not in order, but top 5: LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, Harden. Who else do you put in there? Am I missing? Healthy KD. I don't know. Anthony Davis. I don't know what you want to do. People forget Steph Curry, which, by the way, he might have a chip on his shoulder this year. I don't know.
Yeah. I think when healthy, man.
Damian Lillard. Forgot about him.
Yeah, I'm putting Harden probably top 10, near the lower half. But there's just too many talents that I think do more things like than one. That's just my opinion now.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't pay $40 million a year to play the way James Harden has played the last years. That's what I'll say.
He's probably top 7 at least, if not higher.
I want to address this point. Simmons and Joe can't win, let alone make it out the first round.
They have twice.
Just wondering if you watch basketball or not. But
they've won 251 seasons and they've gotten out of the first round twice, bud.
Right. 65% of their games they won. I'll die on that hill. Doc Rivers will die on that hill too.
Yeah. Come on.
Crazy, man.
Stop with that.
With by the way, they did that with Brett Brown as their coach and a different roster every single year. Let's see what they do now. Imagine it's probably going to be in the 70s.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just don't like that notion that some people try to make about them. But Kevin says, I don't get why people hate Ben when he does everything other than shoot. Exactly. I agree.
100%.
Yep.
He does everything great. Like, it's not just good. It's not average. Like, he doesn't pass okay. He passes great. Rebounds, great. Steals, great. I mean,
when you can't shoot and control the tempo of the game is the main reason people want Harden for Simmons.
Oh,
But you got to look at everything he can do, man. It's not a one thing type of game.
Ben does everything better than Harden. Maybe not passing, but everything else better than Harden. Everything. And he holds the ball more. You're talking about tempo. Harden leads the league in turnovers almost every year.
A point guard who stands in the dunker spot and messes up the spacing for everyone else is one of the only reasons.
Come on, man. When does Ben Simmons ever stand still? Seriously. He runs the most on that court every game.
Yep. And he was in the dunker spot because that's what Brett, I mean, he can do that, by the way. I don't know what the problem with that is. He's an athletic guy. I mean, I'd prefer him, if the ball's not in his hands, to be the pick and roll man or whatever. Doc Rivers will figure it out. I think that everybody's perspective will change then.
Dude, look, you guys know how I feel about it. I'm done with this Ben Simmons slander. Come to me halfway through the season, and we're gonna see what happens, man. Like, I'm just look. The dude is 24 years old. Giannis didn't start shooting until he was 25, 26, right. And he's an MVP without a solidified jump shot. I don't like. I hate how people try to judge this off of Brett Brown. Brett Brown doesn't know basketball.
And what happened, by the way, Giannis became an MVP when they got a good coach and they built the roster around him the right way.
And they had the right scheme. You saw Brook Lopez never take a three in his life to being the best center shooter in the league. I mean, come on. It's not that hard. And then you look back at 2017. You know why we lost that year, right? It was because we ran into something that never happened. Brad Stevens knew how to stop Ben Simmons. Nobody had done it all year. But guess what? Ben Simmons was amazing that year. I don't know how people forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the passes that Ben Simmons would throw, guys wouldn't even expect them. And now he's an all-world defender. I mean, come on, man.
I can't believe this hate for Ben is real. You guys act like the way that you guys are talking about Ben Simmons, you would trade him for literally nothing. It's insane. How do you not like a top 5 point guard in the league on your team? I don't agree, honestly. I think Durant's a better scorer.
Wait. Durant's better than who? Oh, yeah, I agree. Sorry. I thought, never mind.
Yeah, I think Durant's a better scorer than Harden when healthy.
I was on that too, by the way.
All I'll say is that Ben Simmons can shoot the ball. Like, people think he can't shoot. Ben Simmons can shoot the ball. And he's going to. He just didn't feel comfortable in that offense. And there was no space for him to shoot. Even I was mad at Ben Simmons for always dishing it out when he's driving to the lane. Why did he do that, though? Because two men would always come together and stop him in his tracks. And they'll take an Al Horford 3 over a Ben Simmons layup any day. Oh, my gosh. Sixers fans, it's going to be real interesting to see how they flip the switch this year. I'm telling you, straight up.
Well, speaking of, man, sorry to interrupt. I just realized I have a Zoom meeting for this stupid thing with school I got to get to. But look, guys, RB 444, appreciate you guys for having me on. Everybody in the chat, this is just the beginning, man. Sixers YouTube. Let's take this thing over. All three of us, Sixers YouTube, we do Philly sports content, but Sixers YouTube, you guys bring the energy, man. I see you guys, every single one of you, getting familiar with you guys. Make sure you subscribe to both guys here on the stream. It's broadcast all three of our channels. I'm going to head out. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. I will catch you guys later, all right?
Hey, appreciate you, my guys. Sub up my guy Steven, man. Daily Drip. Go ahead and sub him up. Great content creator. And we'll probably be up on here a couple minutes. We were expecting to get off, but I mean, I had to address that Ben Simmons thing.
I
I don't know.
comments that just say he can't shoot. Thank you, guys. I didn't know that Ben Simmons can't shoot the basketball, even though he can. He just doesn't. And I don't know why, but maybe it's because of people like you just constantly begging him to shoot. And then when he misses, you all get on him. Pick one. Pick a side. If you want him to shoot, shoot. And you can't get mad at him. I'll take a Ben Simmons missed jump shot just as much as I would take a Ben Simmons make jump shot.
Look, man, what I'll say is like, all right, Ben Simmons can't shoot. I agree. Can we also acknowledge the fact that Ben Simmons can put up 25 points in a given night without when the defense knows what Ben Simmons is going to do with the basketball? He can still put up 25. He averages 16, 17 points a game without shooting the basketball.
That is score. Scoring's everything to people. Clearly scoring is everything.
I agree. He has to shoot. And I know he can shoot the ball, but I'm not here for the Simmons slander, man. Like, this guy is a talented player. I would love to know what people want to give up for Ben Simmons. I mean, come on, man.
They clearly want Harden. Really, I mean, but you lose so much if you get Harden. You do. You lose your defense. Doc Rivers has his defensive ability. Look at the players he had on his team last year. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverly, Montrezl Harrell. He had defensive studs on that team. He stresses defense. I don't think Doc Rivers would want a guy like James Harden for defense purposes.
Ben Simmons is the perfect guy in a Doc Rivers offense because Doc likes to go up tempo. He likes to put guys not in one role, not in two roles, but in a lot of different roles. And that's one of the big things, up tempo. Ben Simmons has to push the floor, man. He's the perfect guy to be able to do that. So I just don't get why you would want to trade him. 24 years old, by the way. Oh, man. Dave says, what do you think of this? Buddy healed for Al Matisse and Zaire. That's an interesting trade. I would think about that.
Matisse he's the guy that would kind of kill me on that trade. How, dude? He's going up in points every year and he hasn't shot yet.
And he's a all-world defender now. Come on, man.
He averages 17, 8, and 9 every year of his career. 17, 8, and 9, guys. Like, I don't think you guys realize Magic Johnson didn't shoot the basketball, guys. He didn't. And guess what? How many rings does he have? Oh, yeah, that's right. 5. And how tall was he? And who does his game represent? That's right.
Crazy.
He plays a game like Magic Johnson. And when you surround players at that time in the 80s basketball, you needed big men. Well, guess what? If you get guys that can shoot the basketball for Simmons, that's the big men of the 80s till now. Shooting. It's all shooting. And mind you, we have arguably the best big in the league.
Oh, man. I agree with people like this. All Ben has to do is add a shooting tendency. The slander on my guys kills me. It's crazy, bro. Giannis doesn't have Embiid. Exactly, bro. Can we talk about the fact that Ben Simmons, outside of J.J. Redick, who's been Ben Simmons' best shooter outside of J.J. Redick? Robert Covington? I mean, are we kidding me here?
Yeah. Marco for a quarter of the season.
Right, a bench piece? Like, come on, man. And that's when he looked his best. Come on, bro. I don't understand why people want to trade Ben or Joe when we have a top 5 coach. Beats me, bro.
We have a top 7 duo in the league. And they're talking about splitting it up when they haven't even seen it with this coach yet.
All I'm going to say about the Ben Simmons thing is keep grading Ben Simmons about what he did under Brett Brown, it's going to significantly change, man. It's ridiculous. Who's worse, Russell Westbrook or Kyrie Irving? Man, I don't know. I wouldn't take either of them right now, to be honest.
Kyle Beckley, Magic did what? You're calling me stupid. Magic did what? Win with players around him. You know, the guy that Ben Simmons has been compared to by not just by NBA analysts, by coaches around the league, by NBA executives. Ben Simmons is a player that the Sixers will never trade. Magic can't shoot, dude. It wasn't needed back then. He can.
These people don't remember that Jason Kidd, Magic, LeBron, Giannis, they didn't come into the league with a jump shot.
These kids are playing 2K with 99 overall pink diamonds. Like, come on, stop. It's not 2K. This isn't a video game.
Oh, my gosh. We just want him to attempt a shot. I agree, and I think he's going to. RB is what makes him special. He can get any shot he wants without shooting a jumper. Exactly, man. I agree. Ben could run everyone and score 30, but he's more of a team player. He is. He played just like LeBron. Harden scores but gives up so many points to the opposing team.
It's always
he's not a team guy for me. It's crazy.
He's always been run and gun.
Trade AI for John Collins. There's no way that's happening. I would love it, but it's not happening.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't happen now. Not now.
Should Philly keep Matisse? Absolutely. Drew, what's going on, man? Hey, we're probably going to get out here in a couple minutes. Give us any final thoughts or takes, questions. We still got 65 up in the chat, or 70 up in the chat. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. A lot of Sixers content to come. We just been responding to a bunch of these Ben Simmons slanders right here. It's crazy. Shout out to all the channel members, the mods up in the building too. Appreciate you guys. One of our longer streams, but hey, it's been a while, man. I miss this stuff, man, and I can't wait for this season because with how Philly sports are going right now, the Sixers are going to be special, man. Tatum over Simmons. What do you guys think? I'm gonna let my guy.
Nope. Simmons is better than Jason Tatum. He can do everything but shoot better than Tatum. It's not just scoring when you have the most dominant big man scorer in the league on your team outside of Anthony Davis. And guess what? LeBron didn't outscore AD in the playoffs. But guess what? Who was the better player? LeBron.
Hey,
fast.
You just reminded me of a great point, too. And I want to know everyone's thoughts real quick. I said this in a video, I think it was a couple weeks ago, right? So everyone that wants to trade Joel Embiid, right, and get Ben Simmons with shooters around him, I want to know what you think. Look, you need a quality big man to win in the playoffs. You need one. Look at the teams this year, right? At the end, the modern NBA day is about getting speed, going up tempo, having shooting, right? Can we look at the teams that were in the Final Four? So you had Jokic, you had Anthony Davis, you had Bam Adebayo, and the one team that didn't have a good center, I mean, they lost. Daniel Tice, they lost. You need a quality center when the game slows down in the half court, and that is why I don't want to trade Ben or Joe, especially Joe. I would love to know what you think.
I can understand the Ben trading thing because that's been since he's been in the league. If you guys want to trade Embiid now too, come on, guys. You just don't know basketball at that point. Every team, every dominant team has always had a big man. What did Boston in 08 not have the year before? Big man. What did Kobe Bryant have in 09 and 2010? All world big man. Bynum was all world. And what did Dwight Howard not have in 09? Somebody like Kobe. You need two to tango. Come on, guys. Penny and Shaq would have won multiple. But he went to the Lakers, won 3 in a row. What did Iverson have? Nothing. Didn't win. What did the 04 Pistons have? They had 2 big men, Rasheed and Ben Wallace.
You need a big man. Asia, I'm wearing a Ben Simmons jersey. I don't know about 4-4 Philly fan, but
Ben.
we got the Ben Simmons jerseys on. So I love this jersey. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of slander in this chat. We don't got time for this, man. Gene Mark, I think you need to worry about your Cowboys, my guy. But says he's not a top 5 coach. Why did he get fired from the Clippers? He lost the room. They imploded, both better than Simmons, so I don't think it'll end well. There's so much wrong with that statement. Like,
Paul George is a choke, straight choke.
You're right about the leads. It's a bit concerning, but come on, man. He lost the locker room? Come on, bro. They didn't show up. They choked.
Kawhi had 14 points in Game 7. We would have beaten them by 20.
Come on, bro. Lewis says, interested to see Simmons and Embiid under a new coach. Which shooters do you think the team should trade for that could work best? Well, we went over this, man. I'm hoping to get a Buddy Hield. If we could bring back a JJ Redick, a Davis Bertans of free agency, a Joe Harris. We need a guy like that, and then we need other complementary wings, in my opinion, to bring in here to surround these guys. And then our draft is going to be key. We have a lot of draft picks, so. And then should the Sixers go after Drew? Absolutely. I don't see why not. Good vet. Bring him back to Philly. Why not? Next season starting 5. I'll need some time on that. I'll need about a month before we see what the roster's looking like. But trading Ben's a bad idea. Remember the Ben, JJ, Cove, Dario, and Embiid was the best in the league. Exactly. And why? Because there was more spacing. Come on, man. It's not that hard.
It doesn't make sense why you seriously think that. Like, you guys are making Ben Simmons to be like one of the worst players in the NBA just because he can't shoot the basketball.
Hey, Sam, look, people don't feel like this about Ben. It's just certain people in a Philly fan. Like, the Philly fan base, how I look at it, is always a tale of two halves, man. Like, you're always going to get the people that want to trade this guy, want to trade that guy. No. Ben is a superstar in the making, and I'm just letting you know. JoJo's out of shape. Is Jokic better than Joe? I don't think so. I mean, he plays completely different, so it's kind of hard to see, but I like both of them.
I don't think so either.
I think, like, in the right system, in a dominant presence, like, Joe is better, but I think they're both good.
We just got to wait to see what Embiid and Simmons have been under Brett Brown. They are now under Doc Rivers. Can we wait just a couple months before we start trading these guys away for people that might not work in this system? Can we wait, please?
Exactly. Every team, like, I just don't see how, like, at the end of the day, you can't talk sports with everyone. You know what I mean? And everywhere Doc Rivers goes, like, sure, they may not make it all the way, but they are going to significantly improve the way they play basketball. That's what I'm saying. We needed a coach that's going to get them from the next level. You know what I mean? From young stars with a lot of potential to entering that star phase. And that is what Doc Rivers does. He's not some college assistant. He's not some handover, some leftover, nothing. He's Doc Rivers. Look, I'm telling you, man, the most important thing is the development of our stars. That's all I got to say.
Ben Simmons is 100% the right guy.
They lost because PG's a choke artist. Kawhi didn't show up. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Kawhi had no points in the second half of Game 7. I mean, come on, man. I don't see a heart, mojo, in Ben Simmons. Just because he's not vocal doesn't mean he doesn't have heart.
Kawhi doesn't talk at all. You think he doesn't have heart? You think he doesn't want to win?
Will, appreciate you, man. I agree. Will, appreciate that, man. Hey, love doing the content for you guys. Shout out to you. Leadership comes from the top. I think Morey will be really good for the culture. Exactly. Culture. Build a culture. Basketball is about hard work and getting better. Simmons works hard and still doesn't attempt shots. That's not acceptable under a regular coach. Under a regular coach.
Brett Brown stunk.
Regular coach. Read it back. Read it back, my guy. Come on.
And, dude, you say he's working hard and getting better, but then you point out the fact that he just doesn't shoot the ball. He has gotten better at keeping the basketball, at defense, at rebounding, at passing. He's gotten better at everything else. And he doesn't not shoot any jump shots anymore. He shoots a couple. You act like he just doesn't shoot at all. He shoots a little bit, just not to the point of where you think he's going to be Steph Curry or Damian Lillard.
And he will as more shooters get into the offense. I'm telling you, man. It's simple. Todd, if you could add one, who would you add? I would probably take Buddy Hield next to these guys, but I like all of them.
Probably Buddy Hield.
Kyle says, I can care less if he misses. He just needs to attempt. I agree with that. And he will. He will.
I agree with that too.
Do you understand he's the only point guard who won't attempt anything? See, because you got to stop looking at him as a strict point guard. He can do anything on the court. He can do anything on the court. And I'm telling you, man, this guy can play almost every position on the floor. Like,
when Ben Simmons is on the floor, you can't take your eyes off of him. He's an every single play type of player. He's always touching the ball. He touches the ball more than anybody on the Sixers. He touches the ball more than any player to score on the Sixers. He gets them the ball. He rebounds the ball. He steals the ball. He even blocks a couple shots. If Ben Simmons is healthy, it changes the entire series with the Celtics. It does. Just because he can't shoot doesn't mean he sucks. That's terrible logic. Why? Because you think that Steph Curry's just because Steph Curry can shoot, you think he's great? He is great because he can shoot. But I'm taking Ben Simmons and everything else. Rebounding, assist, steal,
I guess people forget how the game was played. I mean, like 20, 30 years ago.
And do you not realize that Ben Simmons is probably one of the best finishers in the league?
He's the best everything except shooting.
That's it.
He's smart. He's IQ. He's up tempo. He can push the pace, man. Like he can do everything. And he's 6'10" and is probably faster than most of the guards in the league, to be honest. Oh man.
I don't get it, man.
People sleeping so hard on Philly. Can't wait to see what moves Doc and Morey do throughout the year. I agree. Ben will shoot with a great coach. Who's the leader on the team? Good point. I think we're going to find out.
Doc Rivers is right now, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a player, I don't know. We're going to find out, man. 6'10" guy dribbling like a guard is crazy. I agree. Hasn't made it further than Harden, so I'd rather have somebody that can shoot.
No, duh, dude. Harden's been in the league for like a decade and a half. He's been in the league like 12 years. How long? What? Yeah, like 12 years. He's been in the league for 12 years. Almost 12 years.
It's ridiculous. Thibault's the future. If he could raise all 3-point, he's an NBA starter. I agree.
Yeah.
I think if Ben was a power forward or small forward, he would not get hate for not shooting. I don't think he would get as much. But I think it would be a little more lenient. And I think either way he's gonna have to develop his shot. But he really is a small forward. Like I'm trying to tell people this.
Can you go up one to the Simmons over Curry thing? Who said that? Because I know I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I said he does things better than Curry, which is true. He's a better defender than him. He's a better passer than him. And he's a hell of a lot better of a rebounder than him. Is he not? Are you picking Ben? Who are you picking to go out for a jump ball? Ben Simmons or Steph Curry? It's a no-brainer. Who are you picking on defense? Ben Simmons or Steph Curry? Who are you picking to finish a layup? Ben Simmons or Steph Curry?
Hey, we're gonna read some of these final points, man. I mean, this is just the Philly fan base, like who they are. Look, this point right here. He can do anything on the court, but we want him to get injured for going for too many rebounds. No. Come on, man. Are you serious? So you won't put a guy in because you don't want him to get injured rebounding? Come on, bro.
You shouldn't, then that just means you have no faith in him. You think he's going to get injured on a rebound? He didn't get injured on a rebound in the final game. He went for a loose ball. It was going out of bounds. He made a play on it. So now you just want our guys to stop hustling, but wasn't your point that he didn't have any heart? Wasn't there a point in here that he didn't have any heart, but yet he gets injured on a play where he's showing heart?
Yeah, I mean, it's exhausting at this point. All I'm going to say is just wait and see what Ben Simmons does. Jordan's a great point. They wanted Simmons to be a 3 or 4. That's why they took Fultz. Exactly. It starts to make sense. Like, why would they take an elite guard from college when they just took Ben Simmons and he's at the point? Brett Brown made Ben into a point, and they wanted him to move to the 3 or 4 so that they could bring Fultz in here and put them side by side. That's all I got to say about that. But hey, with that being said, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. 2 hours, 40 minutes strong. Appreciate all the inside, everybody coming in here to chop it up, talk some Sixers, man. A lot of cool content to come in the next couple weeks. I mean, the draft's in 2 weeks, so it's going to be a lot of fun, man. If you guys have not yet, smash the like button. Appreciate that. A lot helps push it out. Subscribe to all the channels, man. The links are in the description. With that being said, I'll let 444 say any final things he needs to say. I'll give my little ending, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is what I do. I mean, as you can tell behind me, I cover 5 teams: Sixers, Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, and Union. I'm most passionate about the Sixers, as you can tell. I just got done screaming for the last 2 hours and 41 minutes. But, for those of you that are new, if you could subscribe to the channel, it would definitely mean a lot. On the road, I am on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So definitely, if you could hit that subscribe button, it would definitely mean a lot. If you guys want me to subscribe back to your channels or anything like that, you could definitely just tell me and I'll subscribe back to your channels. Doesn't matter. But appreciate you guys for, being dope. Sixers Nation is something else. Philadelphia sports is my most passionate thing about myself. I can definitely say that. And, I love talking Philly sports. Me and RB, I'm sure, are going to run this back a lot during the Sixers season. And, can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of stuff to talk about. Again, everything's coming together quickly, and it's going to be exciting this year. I think we're finally turning a corner. We finally have some structure and some solidity, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Solidarity. That's what I'm trying to say. We have some solidarity within this organization, and I think things are going to go pretty well. But hey, appreciate everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of the night. Be on the lookout the rest of the week for Sixers content. No Eagles games this week, so pumping out Sixers videos. That being said, I go by RB Philly Take with RB, 4 for 4 Philly fan, and we'll catch you guys on the next one, man. Peace.